Latest Fox News Power Rankings have Trump ahead on the economy and immigration, with Harris ahead on abortion. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Your forecast for Halloween. Clear skies and 78 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. No rain at the radar. Low of 60 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:02. Strong winds and dry conditions. Two things you could expect in Indiana the next couple of days.
It'll be pretty windy outside. Just make sure you secure any loose objects outdoors. But we're not expecting any power outages or really any big impacts with the wind, other than the fact that we do have some critical fire weather conditions this afternoon.
Greg Mello with the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says wind gusts could reach up to 40 miles per hour at times, so it's best not to burn anything outside. Several counties north of Indianapolis are under red flag fire warnings. Day 10 of the Delphi murders trials included a look at interview tapes with suspect Richard Allen. Lieutenant Jerry Holman with State Police is asking Allen the questions, who only responds with denials that he had anything to do with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Holman at one point told Allen the death penalty was on the line and that the science doesn't lie. Allen only continued to deny the murder. So far, his DNA has not been found at the crime scene. Police in Indianapolis were forced to use a new city ordinance for the first time over the weekend and cracking down on spinning. Kurt Darling reports.
Spinning is where street racers get together on streets or parking lots to do donuts. It's dangerous, says IMPD officer Tommy Thompson.
They're being reckless and dangerous and putting their lives, others' lives at risk.
He tells Wish TV officers arrested several offenders this past weekend, but they will also impound their cars for at least 30 days. That's in line with a new ordinance passed by city leaders last month. Thompson says several teenagers were among those arrested, not to mention the assortment of drugs they seized as well. Kirk Darling, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
And a quarterback change announced for the Colts, this time not because of an injury. Joe Flacco is now going to assume the starting role once again over Anthony Richardson. This is reported first by ESPN's Adam Schefter this afternoon. The Colts will be looking to bounce back from a loss to the Texans last Sunday when they play Minnesota this weekend. They're hoping Flacco is the answer. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:04.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
With traffic on the 5s at 3:05, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, looking at eastbound 70, starting to slow a little bit from Harding into Meridian, Illinois. Southbound 65 at 70, taking on traffic from Washington to Fletcher Avenue. Everything else looking okay right now. Traffic sponsored by Norton 360. Outsmart cyber criminals this month with Cybersecurity Awareness Month with Norton 360. Keep your software updated with Norton's Software Updater feature. Get up to 58% off at norton.com/secure. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies today. It is going to be warm and windy, near record readings today with highs near 80 and winds gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
Hi, Mr. Nigel. Jason Hammer is here. The state played a recording of a police interrogation of Officer Jerry Holman interrogating Richard Allen from back in October of 2022. It got heated, Hammer. In this recorded interview with police, Richard Allen says, quote, You're trying to make me say I killed those girls.
Couple different recordings were played back today, interrogations of Richard Allen. The one you just mentioned was from October 26th, 2022, and Indiana State police officer Jerry Holman speaking to Richard Allen. Holman says, let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. And then he goes on to tell Richard Allen that they matched the extract marks of the cartridge found at the scene to his gun. And then, according to the pool reporting that we're using here, it was at that point Allen crossed his arms, says he doesn't even know how the bullet would have gotten out there if it was indeed his bullet. Richard Allen says, quote, there's no way. I don't know how that round got there. It's not my round. And then Holman, again, the officer doing the interrogating, says the media is going to portray you as a monster. There's only one way to get out of this, and that's to tell the truth. What happened that day? Are you the mastermind? The truth will set you free. And then Richard Allen responds, well, that's what I would have thought. So throughout this entire interrogation, Richard Allen is pretty defiant that that was not his bullet. There's no way it could have been his bullet. Quote, it did not come out of my gun. I can't explain it. It did not come out of my gun. Anyone who knows me knows I could never do anything like that. I did not murder 2 little girls. You're trying to convince me to confess to something I didn't do. So that was one of the pieces of audio they played in the court this morning.
The only problem is there is audible confession. He did confess. I mean, that's true.
He did confess in the court. And that's going to be interesting to see how the defense tries to counter that. Was he forced to do that? Because he confessed, but he confessed in a way that was not accurate.
Some of the details that he provided did not happen.
Right. He claims he shot the girls. Well, that didn't happen. I mean, we all know at this point what happened.
But is he doing that as a smokescreen?
And that's...
I'm going to confess, here's how I'll get out of this. But the fact that there's no DNA.
Right. Multiple experts have said that. Multiple. Not just one, multiple people. So this is the second piece of audio that they played for the court today. It was a recording of Indiana State Police Officer Steve Mullen and current Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett interviewing Richard Allen on October 13th, 2022. So this would have been about a couple days before, 13 days before the first piece of audio that we talked about. So Liggett says, people saw you. Mullen says, is that person you? That's the question we haven't answered. To which Richard Allen responds, I don't appreciate you talking to me like this. And then Mullen starts going over the description of the clothing. And Richard Allen says, never mind, this is ridiculous. Mullen then says Allen either went to do this to the girls or he was there when someone else did it. To which Richard Allen responds, quote, you're trying to make me say I killed those girls. We're done here. Arrest me or take me home. I'm done. I'm not talking anymore. You're really pissing me off. Am I free to leave? To which, at that point, Indiana State Police Officer Mullen says, you've always been free to leave. And then Richard Allen says, thanks, you're an a-hole. And I clean that up for radio purposes. So there's a lot going on there. And coming up at 5:06, we're going to have Donnie Burgess from the WIBC newsroom in the studio. He's going to go over a lot of what we heard today, plus any breaking news from the afternoon session. And then Guy Relford, attorney, will join us in studio, and we might even do a little role playing here. I want to get Guy's perspective of what he would have said, what he would have done had he been in the room while these interrogations were taking place.
Well, I think the first piece of advice he'd give was to not talk to the authorities without representation. I mean,
correct.
Were there any lawyers present when they were interrogating?
Did not say.
Doesn't
That
look
doesn't
like
look
it.
like it.
No.
I could be wrong on that, but I guarantee that's probably the gun guy's first piece of advice. Do not speak to anybody without representation. I hope these girls get justice. I hope, look, man, if he did it, I hope there's a way they could prove it beyond a reasonable doubt.
I honestly came into this thing with an open mind. I really did. Some people thought he was innocent from the get-go. Some people thought he was guilty from the get-go. I'm telling you the truth, and I hope you believe me. I came in this thing with open mind. But right now, 10 days in, it doesn't look like the prosecution has done anything to prove that Richard Allen killed these girls. Can they prove he was there? Maybe. But can you prove he murdered 2 girls? This was a popular trail where a lot of people would walk and pass and hang out. Do you have any proof that can link him to the murders of Abby and Libby? That still is the million-dollar question. Big news out of West 56th Street, Nige.
Yep.
The Colts complex. Adam Schefter of ESPN, the first to report that the Colts coaches had a meeting this morning and decided they're going to go with Joe Flacco moving forward and bench Anthony Richardson.
Hey, the 4th-round pick.
Fourth pick in the draft. First round.
First round, 4th pick in the draft. And they're benching him. I wonder if it has anything to do with him taking himself out of the game on Sunday down in Houston.
That feels like a very big deal. Like, I think some of the Colts players, the veterans, they know what it's like when a young quarterback comes in the league. You got to be patient with them. Even Peyton Manning stunk as a rookie. We get that. But you can't quit. You can't tap out. You can't say that you're tired when you're 22 years old and you're built like an Adonis.
I don't think he understood the ramifications of what he said and did, or what he did and then subsequently doubled down on after that. I don't think he understands that was a huge deal. I mean, there are commentators, there are people that have been playing football. I've been watching all the ESPN shows. I've been listening to, our sister sports talk station, 107.5 of the Fan. Nobody's ever seen anything like this in the history of football. Maybe that's hyperbolic. Maybe I'm missing something here or there, but a quarterback in his early 20s tapping out, say, I was just pretty tired. Just needed a blow. Needed a breather there.
Not injured.
Yeah.
Tired.
I was sitting there with my neighbor, Scott. We both looked at each other and go, oh, he must have hurt his arm or his hip again, or he started tapping his helmet and thought, well, maybe he hit his head some way. That's,
right.
It's normal. Stuff like that happens. Sometimes players come out for one play and then come back in.
Sure.
Especially the quarterbacks. Happened with Peyton Manning. I was there for Peyton Manning when that happened. Was it with the Dolphins?
The Dolphins broke his jaw.
I was yeah. And so they put Mark Rippon in. And he fumbled it. It was a complete disaster for one play. The only play, I believe, in Peyton Manning's career where he left. The only play he missed, right? I think it was the only play in Peyton Manning's career that he missed, and he came right back in the next play with his jaw bleeding and broken.
Up until that neck surgery, he didn't come out of very many plays at all, unless it was garbage time and the Colts were up by 1 million. But yeah, he came back with that injury. I mean, Andrew Luck. Now listen, if we're going to have a quitting conversation, I think Andrew Luck's name comes up, but he played hurt. He played hurt an awful lot. And that's what I think some of these veterans on the Colts team took offense to. Yeah. Like dudes like DeForest Buckner and guys that are just getting banged up on every single play that are substantially older, and not in as good a shape as Anthony Richardson. And for him to say, boy, that's a lot of running. Just tired. That's a tough sell to a locker room, man. So they are up in Minnesota this Sunday night for a nationally televised game. We'll see what happens. But Joey Flax is going to be the guy.
All right, Matt Baer, what's up?
Inbound 69 looking good right now. A little bit of a slowdown from 82nd into the 465 interchange, and southbound 65, no problem. Starting to drag a bit around West Street, and eastbound 70 good to go into the south split from Harding. Traffic sponsored by Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield. They've teamed up with the Indiana Fever and Common Threads to provide local schools with information for nutritious meal preparation. Learn more at anthem.com/fever. Anthem Blue Cross and Blue Shield is the trade name of Anthem Insurance Companies Incorporated. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And again, 5:06. Make sure you check back. The absolute best Delphi coverage in the city is when Donnie Burgess and Guy Relford come in here together. You've got the newsman, you've got the attorney, and they're breaking it all down, giving analysis. This has been an interesting day in court. That's going to be at 5:06. 78 right now at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. Coming up next, we haven't played this in a while. It's time for another round of Cameo prices, right?
Oh, no.
We've got the Drinko board in studio. A shot is on the line.
Please.
We will play that when we come back.
So you might be asking yourself this question. How much money do I need to retire? Now, you're kind of asking the wrong question there. The real question you need to be asking yourself is, how much money do I need every month to cover my expenses in retirement? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover all of your expenses. You can discover how you can turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with my man Bill Demery, your retirement guy here in Indy.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now, 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery, 317-648-5120, 648-5120.
Here is Jiffy Lube of Indiana's COO, Lonnie Hinkle.
Lots of Hoosiers belong to unlimited car wash programs because they want their car to look great. At Jiffy Lube, we're here to help you make sure your car runs great. So to help take care of your car inside and out, Jiffy Lube is offering everyone who belongs to a monthly car wash program a $20 discount and a free tire rotation from now through the end of the year. Just point out your car wash sticker and we'll do the rest. My Jiffy Lube teams are maintenance experts. Our computer system provides all of the manufacturer's maintenance recommendations for every make and model of vehicle, so we know exactly what every car needs to operate at its best. Jiffy Lube is your trusted one-stop shop for all that your car needs to run well for many years. You never need an appointment, and we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores. So stop in on your way to the car wash, save $20, plus get a free tire rotation just for belonging to a monthly car wash program.
Jiffy Lube. Nobody does it better.
Hammer and Nigel here for your Central Indiana American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer. That would be our friends at Absolute Comfort. They specialize in these Mitsubishi Electric ductless mini splits. They can be mounted on your wall, flush with the ceiling. They heat and cool at an efficient level, and they can be used to heat or cool any specific room without ductwork.
These high-tech units are how most of the world heats and cools their homes and offices. These Mitsubishi Electric ductless systems, they've got advancements that can sense when a person is in a room, and they can warm or cool that room to that person's wishes. For the ultimate in efficiency and comfort, call Chris Wedekin at Absolute Comfort to find out more. AbsoluteComfort.org. That's AbsoluteComfort.org. Absolute Comfort is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Earn, save, grow. It's time your money works harder and goes further with a Stockyards Bank and Trust CD. For a limited time, earn 5.15 annual percentage yield with our 5-month CD special. Proudly serving our communities since 1904. Visit any of our 5 Indianapolis area locations or syb.com/IndyCD today and experience the Stockyards Bank difference. $10,000 minimum balance required. Limited time offer. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Point. Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Save $50 this spooky season with Zero Res. 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119, plus $75 off duct cleaning too. ZeroResIndy.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hammer, what is Cameo Price is Right and how do we play?
So Cameo is a website and a service where people can go online, find certain celebrities, pay a fee, and that celebrity will customize a video greeting for you or whoever you want to send it to. Now, here's the thing about Cameo. If you're looking for Leonardo DiCaprio or George Clooney, you're not going to find them there. But if you're looking for some of the C-list actors, B-list actors, you can find them on Cameo. And for a certain fee, they'll customize a message for you. So this is how the game's going to work.
Chuck Norris, just as an example.
Right.
The guy that played Newman on Seinfeld's on there.
Correct. So this is how it's going to work. Okay. I'm going to give you and Allison the name of someone who's available on Cameo. Without going over, whoever gets closest to the total gets a point.
Okay.
First 1 to 3 is the winner. The winner gets to take a shot from the Drinko board, which we've got isolated on the YouTube camera right now.
Or pass it.
Or pass it to a person in the room. All right, here we go. Number 1, Allison, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Jesse Ventura, former governor of Minnesota, actor, longtime WWF wrestling icon, Jesse Ventura. How much does he charge for a personalized message on Cameo?
I'm going to go with 100.
Nige.
So anything above 100, like 101?
You could go 101.
All right, I'll do that.
Nigel, 110.
Oh, dirty.
110. That's how you play. That's how you play the game. All right, we go to Nige on this one.
Okay.
Actor Rick Hoffman. He plays the role of Louis Litt on the TV show Suits. You have been lit up. How much does Rick Hoffman charge for a cameo?
Wait. Which character? That Harvey or no?
Louis Litt, the fat one.
The fat one, like the obnoxious little weasel guy.
I can't describe it any more than that. His name is Louis Litt on the show, and he's fat and bald.
I will say $75.
Allison.
$76.
Allison, yeah.
No.
Payback, $200.
What?
$200.
I like the. I think I know who you're. I think I know the character you're talking about.
I don't think you do.
Yeah, actually, I do. I know who you're talking about.
Nigel, is he a cartoon? No. I gave you his character name and what he looks like.
All right, we're tied.
We go back to Nige here. David Arquette, actor, has been in like Scary Movie. He's done a number of things.
Married to Courtney Cox at one point.
Yes.
$200.
I'm gonna go $250.
Both of you went over. It was $100. We go to Allison.
Okay.
Actor Dermot Mulroney. He was the love interest in My Best Friend's Wedding. Oh. He was in Young Guns. Now he's on Chicago Fire. Dermot Mulroney.
Ooh, Chicago Fire is hot right now. I'm going to go with 120.
Nige.
You said it was hot. I'll go with 130.
Only $100. You both went over. We move on. We go to Nige here. Leanne Rimes.
Aww.
Singer Leanne Rimes. How much does she charge?
Man, I would say $125.
Allison.
100.
Nigel gets the point, $333.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Nige is one away from winning.
She hopes you dance.
Allison.
Heyo.
That was Leanne Womack, by the way.
Oh, oops. Why was I thinking
I should take away a point.
the whole time.
I would not have.
Leanne Rimes did How Do I Live Without You, Blue.
Yeah.
You're right. He's absolutely
Can I get a
right.
redo?
It's Leanne Womack, not Leanne Rimes.
Come on, Allison. Know your Leanne.
I hope you dance.
Played that damn thing on the bear every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Actor
funny.
Kel Mitchell from Keenan and Kel and Good Booger. How much does he charge?
Good booger.
I'm gonna go with 200.
Nige.
100.
Both of you went over $50.
$50? Well, I know what you guys are getting me for Christmas.
You should have just said $1 if you thought she was way over.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know how to play these games. Like,
Well,
I don't know
we're
I don't know
aware.
how
Clearly,
to
we're both
I don't
great
know
at
how
this
to
game,
strategy.
All right. Nigel.
Yes.
Ring announcer Michael Buffer. Let's get ready to rumble.
Yeah. 300.
Allison.
299.
Nigel wins it. 375. He's the winner here.
I never used to win any of these things.
I know.
So,
we are
Nigel,
equally as terrible.
Do you want to take a shot with the Drinko board, or do you want to pass it to
I want
Allison?
to pass it to Allison, so get your
I
butt
don't
over
want
here.
to get up.
Allison, walk over to the Drinko board. Again, if you want to see Allison on the YouTube cam, get there right now. I have got a mini shot coordinated with each one of these shot glasses and letters. Okay, it's just like Plinko. You put the chip in the board, and wherever it falls, I will tell you the shot that is dictated on my sheet. Here we go.
Go for it, buddy.
It landed in the middle, so pick one. R or I? I is a shot of Crown Royal. Okay.
Oh, I should have done this.
It is a shot of Crown Royal.
Why did I pass it?
I have no idea.
Oh, this is for you and Leanne Womack or Leanne Rimes.
For all Leannes out there that have been confused before, Allison, the
I don't think I've ever
the
had
Drinko board.
You've never had Crown?
Well, I mean, in this little container.
It's a little Crown Mini
Why
here.
did I pass? If you don't drink all of it, I'll take the rest.
Okay.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Get it. Get it. Get it, Allison. Go, 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 go. Yeah.
Of course she drank all of it.
That's what you get for passing. You got lit up, Nige. You got lit up.
I still won, though. I won.
Yes, yes. Nige is the winner
I love Cameo Prices Right
of this edition of Cameo. Price is Right.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate the paint, do what Judy did. She called Rhino Shield.
After having the house painted with kind of usual house paint, I was seeing cracks appearing about every 3 years and just wasn't very satisfied with that.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating specifically formulated for our unique climate.
I can't speak highly enough about the Rhino Shield crew. They also were great at working with me to get the exact right color because I was very particular.
Now get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield is partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer no payments until 2026 for qualified buyers.
I would not hesitate to call Rhino Shield and recommend Rhino Shield to my friends and neighbors and family.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
The kind of weather you'll be dealing with this Halloween. 78 degrees with just a few clouds over the monument. A check of the radar comes up clear of any rain. 60 is about where your low settles tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 3:31. There might be some light rain during the day before trick-or-treating Thursday, but it will be dry by the evening. As for what's next,
They will be cooling down for Friday, but as we move into the weekend and into next week, we'll start to warm back up again. So it looks like by Monday, or actually by Sunday, it looks like we reach the lower 70s for portions of the state.
Greg Mello with the National Weather Service says Thursday is the only day where rain's possible in Indiana for about the next 7 days. You've heard stories about the Delphi murder suspect denying any involvement in the killings. Donnie Burgess reports the jury finally got to see those denials.
2 videos from 2 years ago show suspect Richard Allen deny over and over any involvement in the killings of Abby and Libby. Allen repeatedly told police they had nothing on him, and he had no idea how any cartridge of his could possibly be in the woods with the bodies. State Police Lieutenant Jerry Holman lied to Allen, saying he could prove he was bridge guy, and that set off a profane argument between the two men, which ended with Allen's arrest. The state is expected to play confession tapes this week. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Former Colts head coach Tony Dungy joined Florida Governor Ron DeSantis at a rally today talking abortion rights.
I am so upset when people say, oh, we need to get this passed because women in Florida are in danger when they're pregnant. No, they're not in danger.
Dungy opposes the state's Amendment 4, which would legalize abortions until the fetal viability and allow abortions for minors without parental consent. Spinning is where street racers get together on streets or parking lots and do donuts. It's dangerous and happening in Indianapolis, says IMPD Officer Tommy Thompson.
They're being reckless and dangerous and putting their lives, others' lives at risk.
Details Wish TV. Officers arrested several offenders this past weekend, but will also impound their cars for at least about a month. That's in line with a new ordinance passed by city leaders last month. Thompson says several teenagers were among those arrested, not to mention the assortment of drugs they seized as well. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 3:33.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
With traffic at 3:34, what's going on, Matt Fair?
Harrison looking at a crash on the near east side. It's 10th at East Street. Also, southbound 65 stop-and-go traffic, 29th to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 70 dragging from Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. And eastbound 465 on the north side, stop-and-go traffic from Keystone Avenue to Allisonville Road. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146 End River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy skies today. It is going to be warm and windy, near record readings today with highs near 80 and winds gusting 30 to 35 miles per hour. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Tara Hastings for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Yeah, I'm Nigel. Hammer's here with a very special in-studio guest.
He has been a writer, a producer for some of your favorite television programs. He's a Hoosier, Jeff Boggs. You can find him on social media at Not Kenny Rogers.
Blocked by 3 people, I believe, right?
Yes, 3 people. Luke Bryan.
Yes.
Hillary Clinton. And Mario Lopez.
A badge of honor. Hillary alone.
I get the first 2 because you have beef with Luke Bryan, and let's be honest, Hillary, it's probably a blessing that you're blocked.
She called me a Nazi over the weekend, so.
But the Mario Lopez one, AC Slater is weird to me.
AC Slater had a problem. There was a big story, the Duggar family. Remember that a couple of years ago?
Reality show with a bunch of kids.
Yeah, and one of
the
10
kids or something.
Right, and one of the sons got into some trouble with sexual things, and Mario Lopez was really talking about it, almost being holier than thou. And I just reminded him he had been accused twice of sexual assault.
So. And I believe, was it him that cheated on his wife on his bachelor party?
Can I, not just his wife, Allie Landry, who hosted a show for me and is one of the most beautiful human beings you've ever seen in your life. So the fact that he would cheat on her makes him a tool.
Great moments in Mario Lopez history, though. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was the one that was asking the question to the world-famous Miss Teen South Carolina.
Unbelievable.
In the pageant, where she had this ridiculous answer and talked about some people don't have maps.
If I was better at posting video content, you splice together a Kamala Harris answer with Miss South Carolina back and forth, and you'd be shocked how similar they are.
We were playing Cameo Price is Right earlier, and one of the names on our list was David Arquette. And you came in studio and said, I've got an Arquette story.
It's very rare that I get to tell a David Arquette story. So when I was walking in and I heard you mention David. So David and I, 10 years ago, were in Budapest, Hungary. We were shooting a pilot for Travel Channel. And I didn't know David that well. They put me together with him. And the Danube River runs through Budapest. It separates Buda from Pest. David Arquette, for the life of him, could not pronounce Danube. He kept calling it the Danube. And for 3 straight days, I had to go, oop, it's the Danube. So that's my David Arquette story.
So he seems, by the way, from his appearances on the Howard Stern show back in the day, he seems like a really affable, nice guy. Am I wrong about that?
I mean,
you spent time with him. I'm just.
Yeah, I would say no.
Okay. All right.
So that would be my David Arquette story.
Jeff Boggs with us. Again, been a writer for Letterman and some other great shows, great comedic mind. So I think you're the perfect person to get the thoughts on this. The Tony Hinchcliffe joke that was told at the Madison Square Garden Donald Trump rally, where every celebrity that's a leftist is complaining about how their feelings are hurt, their spirit is broken, and they might not be able to go on living anymore. Your thoughts?
I mean, come on. The fact that we're even talking about this 3 days later is absolutely ridiculous. Tony's joke was, it was funny in the whole scheme of things, just like when he was on the Tom Brady roast. He was fun. He was
equal opportunity offender.
Exactly. And who among us hasn't been called a floating pile of trash? Right?
What kinds of things in general have celebrities from other places in the world said about the United States of America?
Exactly. And then you go through the thing. Does anybody want to go to YouTube and look up Hillary Clinton's hilarious comedy segment on Colored People Time? You have Jimmy Kimmel, who can't stop wearing blackface. And we have all of these.
Jimmy Kimmel was black body.
Full black body.
For Karl Malone.
That's right. Sarah Silverman was blackface.
Yes.
And Howard Stern was blackface. So
yes. Jimmy Fallon was also blackface.
Yeah. Did you hear that the shadow senator from Puerto Rico today is endorsing Donald Trump?
Really?
No.
So obviously it didn't have that big of effect. Just like Hillary Clinton, when she did her racist joke, still received 91% of the black vote.
The bigger effect, though, of a guy like Tony Hinchcliffe, who is very popular in the comedic community, especially he's not underground, but he's very, very vicious and very dry and very, what's his show?
Kill Tony.
Kill Tony. The fact that he was performing at an event like this in Madison Square Garden, what does that say? What, in general, what does that say to you as a guy that is a comedic writer?
It opens it up a little bit to where someone like that feels comfortable being in a room full of Nazis. But I'll compare it to something else. Did you see that great thing over the weekend? Was it Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa who popped into the 49ers postgame show with his
MAGA hat?
With his MAGA hat. I think people are finally a little bit, maybe outside of New York and LA, are finally totally, open to saying, of course I support Trump because the alternative is so horrible.
And we talked about this the day after the Trump rally. We talked about this right out of the gate. That rally at Madison Square Garden seemed like the breaking point to where people have been tired of being called Nazis and fascists and every sort of phobe and ist under the sun. If you're somebody that believes that you need to have a strong border, a good economy, and a well-funded, badass military, you don't give a damn what people say anymore.
Right. I just spent $130 at Meijer's on probably 3 days worth of food. So I could care less about Hinchcliffe doing a joke. You know what I mean? And I think most people now feel that way. It's so passé, it's almost boring that let's just get this thing over with. Let's win. And then people can still yell about it, but maybe just on social media.
I feel like Nazis is the new deplorables. Remember when Hillary, that kind of ended her campaign with the basket of deplorables.
Right, and think about how the
There's 20,000 people in Madison Square Garden. They're all Nazis?
The Democratic Party, here's where we've gone in 8 years. 8 years ago, Michelle Obama goes, when they go low, we go high. 8 years later, half the country is Nazis.
Yes.
Right.
So
right.
It's escalated
that is what
quickly.
They're saying.
And if you're somebody that's been a lifelong Democrat, but you're Jewish, how do you feel about this? Because Michael Rappaport, right? And he's going to be on our show tomorrow. He has been a lunatic, never Trumper for a long time. But over the last year and a half, I think even he has seen, whoa, let's pump the brakes here. Do you people own a history book? You're comparing somebody to Hitler on behalf of the Jewish people. You don't know what you're talking about.
Right. My girlfriend is Jewish. So when she sees this, she is shocked by it. She grew up in a very liberal family. And honestly, to watch her over the last 10 years, it really started with Judge Kavanaugh. But seeing how ridiculous all of this is, and now to where they're calling, us Nazis, she's offended by it and she's sick of it, and I'm glad she's voting for Trump.
Stadiums full of people. I mean, MSNBC, CNN, we played all the clips the next day after that rally. Mika weeping on Morning Joe.
It's like an SNL skit. When you watch Morning Joe, you're like, boy, that's really good. And then you're like, oh, that's really MSNBC.
Jeff Boggs with us. Are you still feuding with Mark Cuban?
I am. Interesting you would bring that up. I had
You are?
Yes, I had a tweet this weekend that actually went kind of viral. It got millions of views.
Is it pinned? It's pinned
yeah,
at the
it
top of your
70,000 likes and retweets. Here's what happened. Mark Cuban put out there, let's take a poll. A grandma is undocumented. She has lived in the USA for 30 years, not even a ticket. She has 4 kids, all American born, as are her 12 grandkids. Should we deport them immediately? And all I did was respond to Mark. And I said, hey, Mark, when you owned the Dallas Mavericks, did you let people who didn't buy tickets into the games? Oddly enough, he has not responded.
Now, it's odd because Mark Cuban seems like he likes to engage people on social media.
We're both fellow Hoosiers.
Right.
We both went to IU, and we both love basketball.
hilarious.
But he still has not. 3 million views. He still has not responded. So I don't know if I hurt his feelings or what's going on. But Mark, call in. We can figure this out.
Jeff Boggs with us on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Not Kenny Rogers. We're in the home stretch here, kid. 1 week from today, we're picking a new president of the United States here. You're going to be with us, I believe, next Tuesday on Election Day.
Awesome.
Just penny for your thoughts, man. We're in the red zone here.
Yeah, you look at these numbers of Hispanic voters, of black voters, you see the change from just 4 years ago. The fact that Trump is up 14 with Hispanics, 11 with black voters from where Biden was 4 years ago. How in the heck are these polls tied? It can't just be college-educated white women who are making it up. So I'm hoping that if I trusted the election, it's a landslide. Trump's going over 300. What worries me is just this morning, I see a box full of ballots being found on the side of the road in Florida. And yesterday morning, I see an unsupervised drop box being lit on fire, in Washington. These are the ones that we're hearing about. So I'm very concerned about what's going to happen a week from today. I really hope that the GOP is doing what they've said they're doing, which is 500 lawyers, 100,000 poll workers. But I just don't trust it right now, and it has me really concerned.
Stick around for one more break?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Jeff Boggs with us. This is the Hammer and Nigel Show.
I am fired up for the World Food Championships coming to town November 8th through the 12th. Over 300 cooking teams, 1,200 chefs, 40 countries represented. You've got to get your tickets now and come sample some amazing food. Go to worldfoodchampionships.com.
It's all going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. This event's got everything. Live fire activations, barbecue, lots of food. Get your tickets right now. Visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Rampant crime, crumbling roads, unaffordable housing, open borders, and high inflation. That's Andre Carson's record after 16 years in Congress. Have you had enough yet? It's time for John Schmitz, an Indy native who's working for safe streets, an end to inflation, and a bright future for Indy. John Schmitz has the experience, creativity, and energy to tackle the issues holding back Indianapolis. Help make Schmitz happen. Vote John Schmitz for Congress. Learn more at johnschmitzforcongress.com. I'm John Schmitz. I approve this message, paid for by Schmitz for Indiana.
Advent is now open in Indianapolis and Avon. Find out more at adventknows.com.
Breathe well with simple solutions. AdventKnows.com.
If you recently lost health coverage due to a life change, healthcare.gov is here for you. Like it was there for Marcus when he lost his job, and Keisha when she turned 26 and lost her parents' insurance, and Elena when she went off Medicaid. There are many other ways to qualify. Visit healthcare.gov today to see if you're eligible to enroll. Limited time to enroll. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Research shows smoking costs Indiana businesses $3.1 billion every year. It also shows that an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes would drastically reduce smoking, which could save lives, create jobs, and infuse the state of Indiana with hundreds of millions of dollars annually. Read the reports from the Richard M. Fairbanks Foundation at thepriceofsmoking.org and see for yourself how an extra $2 per pack tax on cigarettes can have a positive impact on Hoosiers.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. Need heating service in Johnson, Morgan, or Hendricks County? Give us a call, 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
The Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show is this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. For hunting, sporting, and personal protection gear, visit the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors. For 1951 cabinetry, visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
When it's all over, join WIBC and Tony Katz for Understanding the Election in Three Bourbons, presented by Premier Arms on Thursday, November 14th. Enjoy bourbon, cigars, hors d'oeuvres, expert analysis, and plenty of laughs. Tickets are limited. Get yours now at WIBC.com.
All right, Matt Baer, what's going on?
Eastbound 465 slows from Westfield Boulevard over to Allisonville Road. Inbound 65 stop and go 29th to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 70 slow, Belmont to the South Split. And eastbound 70, the exit ramp to Emerson Avenue. That is closed because of a crash. We are slow into the North Split. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road at North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Beautiful day. Sunshine, 78 at the American Standard Cooling Weather Center. Jeff Boggs is with us on social media at Not Kenny Rogers. All right, I'm going to throw some topics out here. I'm going to do a little rapid fire here. You give me your thoughts on said topic, okay?
Awesome.
Tim Walz. Old balls, Tim Walz.
Tim Walz may have planted the story about him having an affair with the Communist Party's leader's daughter just to stop people from saying he's gay.
Oh,
Genius
move. Somewhere, like, could Eric Swalwell maybe use that same excuse? I mean,
can you imagine a woman who's heartbroken over getting dumped by Tim Walz? That's rock bottom right there.
Dude, somebody married Brian Stelter, so that's proof that there is somebody for everybody.
It's true.
All right. IU football.
Ooh. Well, I mean, let's be honest, guys. 8 weeks ago, I came in here for the first time, and I said to you on air, I guarantee the Indiana Hoosiers will go undefeated this year and win the national championship. We're 8-0. We're going to win the national championship. Nothing has changed.
Strong. You are a visionary, my friend.
Yeah, people called me insane. My own mom was like, "Stop embarrassing our family. They're 8-0, and we're going to win the whole thing."
You've been on like Times Square in your underpants, but this is where you embarrassed your family.
This was the line.
Who is the toughest opponent on IU's schedule moving forward? Is it Ohio State?
At Ohio State, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
in the shoe in Columbus.
They just eked by Nebraska, though, so we have a shot.
All right, rapid fire here with Jeff Boggs. Anthony Richardson.
Okay. Today, they announced they're yanking him as a quarterback. On Sunday, he tapped out because he was tired. I have experience with this. When I was 22 years old, I got a job at a landscaping company here in town, and I did not like manual labor at all. So the first half of the day, we mowed Community East Hospital, and I could not believe how hard that was for 4 hours. We went to lunch at Burger King, and then we had to mow some other Metroplex complex on the east side. 20 minutes into the second mowing, I found a tree. I sat down next to it. I closed my eyes for what may have been 5 minutes, may have been 15 minutes, but the dude woke me up, the guy in charge, and he goes, you can't sleep. And I go, oh, I'm sorry. That was my last day at the landscaping company. So I'm not comparing myself to Anthony Richardson. We have different talents.
No. Sure.
But I understand taking a break during the game. Let's go Flacco.
Great athletes every once in a while need a break, is what you're saying.
That's all right. Yeah, you just tap your helmet. Everyone should do that from now on.
Global warming.
Global warming. Oh, this is interesting. Global warming. Okay, today they are saying record temperatures in Indiana, today and tomorrow, right?
Beautiful.
Beautiful. It's unbelievable out. The wind is blowing. It's beautiful. 81 degrees, 80 degrees, okay? People are starting to say, well, this has to be because of global warming. It has to be. So what a guy like me does is I go and check out, well, on this date in Indiana history, what's the hottest it's ever been? In 1922, it was 81 degrees.
Of course.
In 1927, it was 80 degrees. So,
and Tim Walz was 41 years old.
No, see, I would go Bernie Sanders there. I would say Bernie Sanders was 65.
Okay,
But great minds.
Yes.
But that's why I call BS a lot of times on the global warming, because with a quick Google search, you can pretty much disprove everything.
Last one here, 30 seconds left. Legal weed.
Oh.
Legal weed. You know, okay, so California's had it for a while. I have tried edibles from time to time. They make me tired.
Me too.
I'm not a big pot guy. So to me, if the money is used correctly for the schools and for these potholes that are killing my car, great. Otherwise, I'm worried about the whole town smelling like a bong.
See, that's where I'm at. I've been to Vegas, You're watching the beautiful Bellagio fountain show, and then there's some dude next to you staying in one of the off-strip hotels for like $5 a night, and he's got just a big fat doober bigger than anything Dr. Dre's ever had, and it just stinks up the whole block.
Yeah,
it does.
With the circle, if you get that green smoke wafting up, it'll be beautiful, but it'll smell.
On social media at Not Kenny Rogers, he is Jeff Boggs. Jeff, thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Man, if you're like me, if you're like my wife, you think that you didn't really have time to exercise and be healthy, you couldn't be more wrong. The proof is in the pudding with Exercise Inc. I've been with the program for years. My wife just joined up with Exercise Inc. She loves the physical strength and movement Exercise Inc. provides to help get your body stronger and more muscle. Did I mention it's only once a week for 20 minutes, this workout I'm talking about here? It's not an easy workout, but it's safe enough that your grandma could do it, and it's also rigorous enough that a pro football player will be walking out of there wobbly. So you're getting the strength, the movement that your body needs and craves in 20 minutes. Your coach will also help you out with the 9 simple habits you need to follow to change your health and lose weight and change some of your eating habits and routines outside the gym as well. Exercise Inc., all the movement, all the muscle building you need once a week for 20 minutes. 5 locations, Avon, Brownsburg, Greenwood, Zionsville, and now the new one in Fishers. ExerciseInc.com, ExerciseInc.com. Tell them Nigel sent you. Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference.
Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book that appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Indianapolis, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves, but don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Nobody likes a cold shower. LD Smith has hot deals on water heaters. Save up to $300 on a new water heater installed.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Joyner Homes. They've built hundreds of homes across central Indiana and has a streamlined, fully custom home build process with an in-house team of architectural and design specialists. So you can focus on the fun stuff like cabinets and flooring and paint colors. They truly build unique, character-rich, smart design homes anywhere that you can bring a builder or on your own private lot. Check out their pricing online at joynerhomes.com. That's where you can also see some of the homes they've built. That's joynerhomes.com.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is a proud veteran-owned company. 317-557-8532. Don't forget to get out and vote.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the Delphi murders trial is now 10 days old. Donnie Burgess reports on the interview of suspect Richard Allen, what kind of weather you can expect this Halloween, and the Indianapolis Colts deciding to make a quarterback change. That's all coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recycler Studio. Skies mostly clear with temperatures in the 70s in the Circle. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
A battle for the most populous swing state. I'm Tom Graham, Fox News. Former President Trump criticizing his Democratic rival after her policy shift when it comes to fracking, speaking from Mar-a-Lago, Florida.
She was against fracking at the highest level. Wouldn't even think about it. Now all of a sudden, I'd like fracking very much.
Many jobs in Pennsylvania rely on oil and gas exploration. Trump making 2 stops in the battleground state today, including a rally in Allentown. Fox's Brian Yennis is in nearby Bucks County.
Here in Bucks County, the largest swing county in Pennsylvania, there are now more registered Republicans than there are Democrats. We visited the field office here in this important county where they are using specific data to target voters, primarily Trump supporters who have never voted or who have sometimes voted. Republicans think they now have a real shot to flip Bucks red. Now, the strategy relies heavily on thousands of specially trained Trump Force 47 volunteers who have been establishing relationships with these new voters and encouraging early voting.
The Harris campaign says the vice president will give her closing arguments tonight in Washington. She'll be holding a speech from the Ellipse near the White House. It's the same spot where Trump spoke ahead of the January 6th riot back in 2021. Early voting turnout hitting records in some states as both campaigns work to get supporters to the polls 1 week before the election. Fox's Alexis McAdams is in Battleground, Michigan.
Vice President Kamala Harris was here. She's been spending a lot of time here in this state trying to connect with voters on the ground, specifically male voters. So in recent days, former President Donald Trump holding 2 rallies in Michigan. We were there at the one in Traverse City as well. He had a pretty big crowd. He won back in 2016, but President Biden carried the state in 2020.
Real Clear Politics polling average gives Harris a razor-thin lead over Trump in Michigan. America is listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What he said on tape. Mostly clear skies with temps in the 70s downtown. Your radar's clear of any trouble. Low temps down to the lower 60s tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:02. Denials, curse words, and the eventual arrest. Donnie Burgess explains what happened during day 10 of the Delphi murders trial.
The jury got to sit back and watch 2 police interviews from October 2022 featuring suspect Richard Allen in his own words. The video showed Allen continue to deny any involvement in the murders of Abby and Libby. Allen went so far as to curse out the county sheriff and state police lieutenant Jerry Holman. In return, Holman screamed back and said he had evidence to prove Allen was bridge guy, even though Holman later admitted to lying. Allen screamed, "Leave my wife out of this and just arrest me," which is what happened. Confession tapes are expected this week. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A person of interest is in custody after a fatal shooting this afternoon. IMPD says someone was shot just before 3 near a plasma donation center off North Post Road, just south of 38th Street. IMPD says there's no current threat to the public as they continue to investigate exactly what happened. High wind gusts and dry conditions. Those are a couple of things you could expect in Indiana the next couple of days.
It'll be pretty windy outside. Just make sure you secure any loose objects outdoors. But we're not expecting any power outages or really any big impacts with the wind other than the fact that we do have some critical fire weather conditions this afternoon.
Craig Mello with the National Weather Service says with wind gusts possibly hitting 40 miles per hour this week, it creates a fire hazard, so don't burn anything outside. Several counties north of Indianapolis currently under red flag fire warnings. A woman from Indiana who served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army was found dead in Missouri. Ryan Hedrick reports.
Sarah Roque was 23 years old when the cops found her dead last week. The case has been ruled a homicide, and a person of interest has been taken into custody. On Tuesday night, it will be all about remembering Roque as a Hoosier servant who loved her community. A motorcade will take Roque's body from Indianapolis to Ligonier. A procession will come through town, and then a vigil will happen at Gazebo Park around 8. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson will not be starting this Sunday against the Vikings. ESPN's Adam Schefter reported earlier this afternoon that Joe Flacco will now be taking over under center for the foreseeable future. Indianapolis has Minnesota this weekend. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:04.
Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation, talking with Richard Michaelis about basements and foundations. Richard, what are some of the signs that a homeowner should watch out for to spot potential foundation or basement problems?
If you see cracks or bowing in your basement walls, uneven floors, or cracked bricks, these could indicate foundation issues. And keep in mind, if it's a significant foundation problem, it will only worsen over time. If you notice water in your basement, visible mold, damp walls, or musty odors, it could be a sign of a foundation issue or a waterproofing problem.
How can homeowners know for sure if there's a real problem?
By calling Michaelis for a free inspection. We're a local family-owned and operated company with 39-plus years of experience. If repairs are needed, we offer a lifetime warranty and 0% down on foundation and basement repairs. You see our work before we see your money.
Foundations, basements, and crawl spaces. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call or text 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
With traffic on the 5s at 405. What's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, we have a ramp closed on the east side. It runs from eastbound 72 Emerson Avenue. That ramp is shut down because of a crash. In the meantime, you can peel off at Rural. That is ramp 84 going eastbound, or just take Washington Street over to Shadeland. In the meantime, backed up from Emerson Avenue into the north split. That is slow traffic and a delay time of running 8 minutes. Eastbound 70 stop and go Belmont to Meridian, Illinois. Inbound 65 slows 21st to Meridian Penn. Eastbound 465 stop and go traffic Westfield Boulevard past Allisonville Road. It's a crash on the east side, 10th at Post Road. Traffic sponsored by Discover. Discover wants everyone to feel special. That's why they double all the cash back you've earned on your credit card at the end of your first year with Cashback Match. See terms at discover.com/credit card. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy and mild for tonight, or low temperatures in the lower 60s. Wednesday, another one challenging record highs in the lower 80s. Winds gusting 30 miles an hour plus. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
Hammer Election Day, 1 week to go.
Let's go, baby.
Woo! I mean, most polls showing a tight race within the margin of error in states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and others that Trump needs. Those are known as swing states.
Correct.
That Trump needs.
Every poll is like super close except for the ABC News one that has Kamala by 1 million. Like the ABC Ipsos poll, as it's known as, has Kamala up well above the margin of error. Everybody else, it is going to come down to the nitty-gritty. Now, next Tuesday, you don't want to be anywhere else other than right here at 93 WIBC. From Tony Katz in the morning, Kendall and Casey in the midday show, us in the afternoon, and we will hand it off to Tony Kennett, the newsroom, and the best election coverage in the state of Indiana. The latest on if there are any shenanigans. The latest on what kind of numbers we're seeing early on. State races, national races, and, of course, keeping our eye on the presidency. So it's a big day next Tuesday. And before then, a listener had sent me an email, Nigel, and I think this is a great idea. I was kind of thinking about doing something like this anyway. We need to have a day sometime between tomorrow and Tuesday where we talk about some of the judges that are on the ballot here in Indianapolis. Now, I will say this. The Supreme Court judges, I have no problem if they get retained. I've got no issue, no beef with the Supreme Court of Indiana. I think they've been pretty fair, and I think they've done a pretty good job. So if you want to retain the Supreme Court judges, you got my blessing. But some of these other judges now, we need to do our homework on, and we need to keep an eye on. So I'm going to work on that, and maybe sometime between now and next Tuesday, we'll have a good old-fashioned judge session.
Look, that's the key, right? I mean, do your homework. Some of these names might pop up, and you might have no idea, not any idea who they are, what their record is. Don't recognize their names. That's where the homework part of it comes in.
Right. So if you have not yet voted, do your homework on some of these local races. You probably know who you're going to vote for the president, the Senate, some of these other high-profile races, the attorney general, statewide races. But some of your local reps, local judges, that type of stuff, school board, that's where you really got to keep an eye, especially school board.
Because there's no R, there is no D next to those names.
That's one of the things I wish Mike Braun, if he wins this thing, would change. If you want to run for a school board seat, declare who you are, a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian, third party, whatever. Just put a party affiliation there, because if you don't, you get the crap that happened in Brownsburg. You get people like Mike Wells that run, hey, I'm a middle-of-the-road fun guy. You like sports, right? I'm the sportscaster guy. And then he wins, goes in there, and it's all the leftist bullcrap that you never in a million years would have voted for had you known. So that's why I'm hoping the Braun-Beckwith administration, if they win, address that. Nige, you got a lot of people out of the campaign trails here as we get closer and closer to go time. Kamala Harris is going to have a big event in Washington, D.C. They're calling it her closing arguments.
Is that tonight?
20,000 is what they're expecting for this speech. We'll see if that's the case.
Whatever.
One place she will not be is the Joe Rogan podcast.
Couldn't come to an agreement.
No. So, again, Joe Rogan was open to having her on, but the same rules would have applied to when Donald Trump did it. You come to Joe Rogan's studio, which is in Texas, and you record a couple of hours of content. 2 hours, Trump went 3.
I think that's pretty much always the way it works with Joe Rogan.
Right. But Kamala's team, they wanted Joe Rogan to fly to her, bring all of the podcast gear, and only 1 hour. So Rogan was like, listen, that's not going to work for us. This was the official statement Rogan put out. Quote, they offered a date for Tuesday, but I would have to travel to her, and they only wanted to do an hour. I strongly feel the best way to do it is in the studio in Austin, Texas. My sincere wish is to just have a nice conversation and get to know her as a human being. I really hope we can make this happen. He's not ruling it completely out before Election Day, but as of right now, doesn't look like it's going to happen. But somebody has stepped up in her place, and that is J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance has said, hell, I'll travel to Texas. I'll do a couple hours with you. So they're going to record that conversation, I believe, tomorrow, and it's going to be released later this week.
Is it out of line to say that Kamala Harris needs Joe Rogan more than Joe Rogan needs Kamala Harris?
That's accurate. I think that's accurate.
I mean, who cares? I heard clips, drips and drabs of her on Shannon Sharp's show. She can't hold a regular guy type of interview. She can't do it.
And that's who she needs to appeal to the most because dudes are not voting for Kamala Harris.
Oh, boy, you'll get shamed for that. Big Mike and the crew, you're a man, especially a black man, and you're not voting for Kamala Harris. Shame, shame, know your name.
Big Mike. One of the great nicknames that's out there. Real quick, follow-up on a story we had yesterday. We were talking about that fire at the HVAF, the veterans facility. You know, homeless Hoosier veterans, they were living in this place, and now they're homeless again because a fire broke out. We've got the link posted on our social media. If you want to go back, scroll down and find it. Any little bit you can donate helps. But also our friends at Hoagies and Hops, Christina at Hoagies and Hops, this Saturday, they're hosting a Dine to Donate event with proceeds going to helping veterans and families, HVAF, who have just had 48 veterans displaced. 15% of all food sales will be donated to HVAF in hopes of rebuilding and the support efforts to help those veterans.
And we just learned from WIBC News Director John Herrick that fire was not intentionally set.
It was an accident. Yes, which I know it doesn't make any of the veterans feel any better, but
I understand.
It makes me feel a little better. There's not some a-hole that tried to burn down intentionally the HVAF building. Nige, if you need a reason to drink tonight, happy 67th birthday to voice actor Dan Castellaneta, better known as Homer Simpson
The Simpsons.
on The Simpsons. He also does the voices of Grandpa Simpson, Barney Gumble, Krusty the Clown, Groundskeeper Willie, Mayor Quimby, and Hans Moleman. One of the more underrated Simpsons moments, and again, I love The Simpsons, early Simpsons. Homer Simpson was every one of us at a concert. BTO, Bachman Turner Overdrive, came to Springfield to do a show, and Homer had very little patience for new songs.
Hello, Springfield! We're going to play all your old favorites. But first, we'd like to dip into our new CD.
Taking care of business!
Don't worry, sir. We'll get to that
No talking! No new crap! Taking care of business now!
Thank you. Every concert. No new crap. Taking care of business now. And another one of my favorite characters is Krusty the Clown. Krusty delivers in every scene. This was the episode where Krusty was thinking about running for Senate and was looking for a group of people to kind of vet his background.
Just one thing. Are you guys any good at covering up youthful and middle-aged indiscretions?
Are these indiscretions romantic, financial, or treasonous?
Russian hooker, you tell me.
No problem. We'll say you were on a fact-finding mission.
I did find out one fact. She was a guy.
Happy 67th birthday to Dan Castellaneta. Matt Bear. Let's take a look at the roads.
All right, fellas, looking at East Side, eastbound 70, the ramp is reopened to Emerson Avenue. It's partially blocked with the crash over on the right side of the ramp. You can carefully make your exit now. Let's slow traffic from Emerson back to the north split. Southbound 65 is stop and go from 21st to the north split. South side, eastbound 465, stop and go traffic from I-70 past Kentucky Avenue. Crash on the east side, 10th Street at Post Road. And then inbound 69 starting to slow up 96th Street down to 465. Traffic sponsored by LifeLock. As Cybersecurity Awareness Month ends, update your software to fix security flaws. And for comprehensive identity theft protection, choose LifeLock. Start a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com/cybersecurity. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And we can talk about more about it later, but Terry Garr. Rest in peace, Terry Garr, a comedic actress dying at the age of 79.
Loved her.
I'd love to go through some of her movies.
Sure.
So maybe we can get to that later on in the show as well.
And we need 40 people to hit like on the WIBC YouTube stream. Who's going to be heroes? Who is going to be the hero that gets us to 100 likes? So everybody, help a couple brothers out here. Jump to the WIBC YouTube page. They're streaming our show live. There's a camera on Nige. There's a camera on me.
Lucky you.
40 people. That's all we need to get us to 100. Don't go anywhere. We got a fun round of Is This Anything coming up. It's 78 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Everybody at Galaxy Concrete Coatings did such a wonderful job with putting a new coating on my garage floor because it's truly out of this world. I'm having them back to come down into my basement. That concrete floor in my furnace room is really, really gross. And I want them to do down there what they did in my garage, is to make it 4 times as strong. Easy to clean. And it's a lifetime warranty. Not that you'll ever need it. Go to GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com or give them a call and set up an appointment. 751-9070. Said it once, I'll say it again. My Galaxy Concrete garage floor is out of this world.
You heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eagle bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
Shane Company knows fine jewelry.
That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. Create your dream engagement ring and browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts, from diamond studs, tennis bracelets, birthstone necklaces, and more. With our everyday competitive prices, an unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company knows how to work with your budget, not against it. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month winds down, LifeLock reminds you to update your software regularly. These updates fix security flaws that could be exploited by identity thieves. But don't stop there. LifeLock offers comprehensive identity theft protection that goes the extra mile. LifeLock not only alerts you to suspicious use of your info, but also takes action to resolve identity theft issues, guaranteed, or your money back. Start your 30-day free trial at lifelock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
Hammer and Nigel presents.
It depends upon what the meaning of the word is.
Is this anything?
All right, let's rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Big Nige. So you watched the roast of Tom Brady, correct?
Sure did.
So remember all those jokes about Giselle cheating on Tom with her jiu-jitsu instructor?
Yeah, right.
I believe it was Kevin Hart who said, and I quote, "She bleeped that karate man." Well, People Magazine is reporting that Giselle has been impregnated by karate man.
Hello.
Joaquim Valente.
Joaquim, sure.
He's 37. She's 44.
Cougar. Nice.
They've been dating since June of 2023. They've never really confirmed it, but karate man put a baby in Giselle. Is this anything?
That's something, yeah, lucky bastard. Wow, what was Tom thinking letting Giselle get karate lessons from this guy that's much younger than she is?
Right.
Jiu-jitsu or whatever. Okay, we'll call it karate. Fine. But I think Tom's doing okay.
Yeah, Tom wasn't hurting. Let's make that perfectly clear.
Especially on that roast. I mean, they were making jokes left and right about the jiu-jitsu man and his ex-wife, Giselle.
Right.
I think he's okay with it. I think
she spent 7 hours a day with him, and she's still like a white belt.
Right.
Another lesson, honey? Okay.
I think Tom's reconciled. I think he's moved on. I think he understands he's Tom Brady. And is he the highest paid NFL broadcaster right now? That's
$300 million.
Hello.
And he just bought in to be a minority owner of
Raiders,
the Las Vegas Raiders, which means he gets $300 million from Fox to broadcast the games. But because he's an owner, he can't go to any meetings. He can't go interview people at other buildings. He literally just shows up, calls the game, and goes home.
He can't do anything.
$300 million.
Smart move. I think Tom's doing just fine.
Is this anything? A couple's pet tortoise went missing in Oklahoma more than 2 months ago and was just found 100 feet from their house. Volunteers had helped search for the tortoise and even used drones with no luck, but he was found 100 feet from the house. Here's the owner.
I can't explain to you any of that. It's just a big relief. I searched everything. We drove around in circles. It was such a relief.
Do tortoises or tortoisei, I don't know what the plural of that is, do they give off an infrared reading to the drones?
I don't believe they do.
Have you ever tried? My wife, a couple of months ago, this was in Zionsville. It was either on Ford or Oak. I'm not sure. But there was traffic stopped. And this guy coming the opposite way was trying to get this snapping turtle off the road, this giant snapping turtle in the middle of the road. And Lindsay got out and tried helping him. But the turtle, those snapping turtles are mean bastards. They, at every little kind of nudge they were just trying to kind of nudge him and push him off the road. That guy was trying to snap their fingers off left and right.
We got to just give him a little kick.
Maybe.
A little bump draft, to use a NASCAR
He wasn't
term.
in any hurry. That's for sure. So that's a little, it's a different from a pet tortoise.
I love he wasn't in a hurry. Just my luck. The one turtle that's slow. What are the chances?
My dad had to have, like, there's a pond out in front of the house where I grew up, and snapping turtles made, like, homes there, and he had to have a guy come out and, like, hunt them or get them out, turn them into soup.
Wow.
Seriously. Because, like, if our dogs were, my dad had Great Pyrenees, if a snapping turtle would have got a hold of one of their legs or their tendons, could have drug them under just like that. And Pyrenees, those Great Pyrenees are giant dogs.
Turtles are jerks. I had no idea.
Yeah, well, the snapping turtles are. Anyway. Okay. Tortoise, I think pretty docile, pretty fine, but you don't want a piece of the snapping turtle. Stupid things I say on this show.
You don't want any piece of the snapping turtle.
You don't, man, unless you hunt it and kill it and eat it for soup.
You snap back at it. I don't see you snapping now. Put your spoon in the soup bowl. Is this anything? A woman in Minnesota was charged for rustling sheep.
What? I'm sorry?
A woman in Minnesota was charged for rustling sheep. Rustling is when you steal someone's livestock. Here is Police Chief Hodges talking about the crime committed by Mary Kay Bauer.
A report of a man and woman walking a dog and a sheep. The woman who was confronted originally said that she had purchased the sheep. That turned out not to be true. What actually happened was she went to the farm and drugged the sheep out of the farm. She almost choked the sheep out.
Ooh,
so you can't rustle people's livestock in Bloomington.
No rustling allowed. I would have thought rustling sheep, that kind of sounds like someone was trying to corral a bunch of sheep inside of a fence or something.
Can you describe the rustling? Sir, I believe there's been some rustling over here.
I did not know.
Can you describe the rustling?
What scenario in your mind would a man and a woman be walking down the road with their dog and see a sheep in someone else's property and say, hey, let's try and wrestle that sheep? I'm not saying wrestling, it's rustling.
Rustling.
Yes. I don't know what scenario in your mind. Maybe could they sell it? Is there a black market for sheep in Minnesota where they live?
Maybe they wanted to make love to the sheep. It gets cold in Minnesota on those winter nights.
That option did not enter my mind. Thank you.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, if you're wondering how much money you need to retire, that might be the wrong question, okay? The question you really should be asking yourself is, how much money do I need every month to cover all my expenses when I am retired? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover those expenses. Discover how you could turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now, 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery, 317-648-5120, 648-5120.
Looking for a great place to go for car care?
Hi, this is Lonnie Hinkle from Jiffy Lube, and I'd like to share the top 5 reasons that every Hoosier should trust Jiffy Lube to help keep their car running safe and well. Number 5, our computer system holds the maintenance data for every make and model. We know exactly what your car needs and when it needs to be done. Number 4, Jiffy Lube's training system is in the Training Magazine Hall of Fame. Along with companies like Ritz-Carlton, Starbucks, and Nordstrom's, our team does the job right. Number 3, you never need an appointment. We are ready to serve you whenever it works best for you, so come on in and see us. Number 2, Jiffy Lube accepts competitor coupons so you can get our great service at the desperate price of our competitors. And number 1, Jiffy Lube is a one-stop maintenance shop, and we make it easy for you to take great care of your car. Avoid the repair shop by getting your maintenance done at Jiffy Lube. And we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores.
So head to Jiffy Lube. There's really no reason to take your car anywhere else.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
accidental. 79 degrees and sunny in downtown Indianapolis. No rain to worry about on your radar. Low of 60 tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 4:30. Firefighters are learning more about a fire that happened at a homeless veteran shelter over the weekend. John Hayrick reports.
Rita Wright is the Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief.
IFD fire investigators, along with ATF fire investigators, did make a determination that the cause of that fire on Saturday evening at the HVAS Center was accidental.
On Tuesday afternoon, she said they have yet to determine the actual ignition source of the fire, though, and that fire wasn't completely put out until early Sunday morning. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Person of interest is in custody after a fatal shooting this afternoon. IMPD says someone was shot just before 3 near a plasma donation center off North Post Road, south of 38th Street. IMPD says there's no longer a threat to the public, and they're still looking into exactly what happened. Day 10 of the Delphi murders trial included a look at interview tapes with suspect Richard Allen. Lieutenant Jerry Holman, with state police, was one asking Allen the questions. Allen denied just about every accusation that he was the one who killed Abigail Williams and Liberty German. A judge has dismissed a Republican-led challenge on how the state verifies overseas ballots in Pennsylvania. Fox's Ryan Schmelz reports.
The lawsuit filed by 6 GOP House members argued the state was improperly exempting overseas voters from having to verify their identity through certain documents, which they say could lead to voter fraud. A judge dismissing the lawsuit with a week to go until Election Day. The Pennsylvania Secretary of the Commonwealth and the DNC argued the lawmakers' concerns lacked evidence. The Commonwealth could be one of the most pivotal states on Election Day, with races that will be key for control of the White House and Congress. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
It could be rainy and a bit chilly on Halloween, but after that,
they will be cooling down for Friday, but as we move into the weekend and into next week, we will start to warm back up again. So it looks like by Monday, or actually by Sunday, it looks like we reach the lower 70s for portions of the state.
Greg Mello with the National Weather Service says Thursday's the only day where rain's possible in Indiana for about the next week. And the Dow dropped by 150 points today as you look at the market, down to 42,233. The NASDAQ up by 145 to 18,712. And the S&P 500 up by 9 to 5,832. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 4:33.
Hey, folks. Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House. And I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
With traffic at 4:34, here's Matt Baer.
All right, Harrison, there's a crash on the northwest side. It's Georgetown Road at Century Plaza Road. Moving to the south side, westbound 465 is stopped. From I-65 over to US 31. Now eastbound 465 stop and go in pockets from I-70 over 265. Eastbound 72 downtown stop and go Harding into the south split. Inbound 65 slows from 29th to the north split. Inbound 69 stop and go traffic before 96th Street down to 465. Crash east side 10th and Post Road. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy and mild for tonight, or low temperatures in the lower 60s. Wednesday, another one challenging record highs in the lower 80s. Winds gusting 30 miles an hour plus. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
You said this to me last night, I believe, Hammer. You're going to have to break this down for me because I was laughing my arse off. A CNN panel was going crazy, and it seems like most of them, if not all of them, if not for one guy, has severe cases of Trump derangement syndrome.
Correct. So all hell broke loose on this CNN panel. They had a bunch of people up there to talk about Donald Trump's rally.
Yeah.
And like 90% of the panel thinks it's the same as having a Nazi gathering.
Sure, which is a complete insult to the people that were affected by the Holocaust. And there were lots of Jewish people flags there at the rally.
Right.
It's
white people, brown people, black people, people of Jewish faith.
You're all Nazis. If you were there, you're a Nazi.
All Nazis. So the two key players here are Ryan Gerdusky and Mehdi Hassan. Now, Hassan is the guy you're going to hear that has like the accent. Kind of sounds like an English type accent, very distinctive. But at one point, he calls the other guy a Nazi. Hassan calls Gerdusky a Nazi. And then the other guy makes a blown up pager joke back at Hassan, basically saying that he sides with the Palestinian terrorists, and all hell started breaking loose.
What?
Take a listen.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You've been called an anti-Semite more than anyone else's table.
Yeah.
And people would sit there and no, by me, I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying I don't.
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you should not.
No, did you just say I should be killed?
No, I did not say that. No, I did not say that.
Hold on. Did your guest just say I should be killed on live TV?
I said I hope
guys,
you don't.
let me just stop.
You said you hope my beeper doesn't go off.
Because you said I'm a big supporter
of the Palestinians.
Hamas.
Guys, let me
just
Are you?
Am I what? No, of course I'm not.
I apologize.
Are you a racist, violent person inciting violence against
Ryan? That's disgusting. That is completely.
I apologize.
Good job, CNN. First block. Say the Muslim guy should be blown up.
I apologize.
On TV.
I'm not even sure what happened there. But again, this is all, the bigger picture is they all have TDS.
Yes.
It seems like there's one guy that was reasonable.
But then he said the other guy, well, hope your pager doesn't go off, which is a reference to the Hamas terrorists having their pagers blown up and all killed. So I've got one more clip here.
Okay.
And again, I want you to really think about this. Everybody, except for one person, thinks it's perfectly fine to call Trump supporters Nazis or anybody that went to Madison Square Garden Nazis, but heaven forbid you make a pager joke to the other guy, then their feelings are hurt.
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper? No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least have the guts to support your racist comment.
Hang on. I'm so sorry.
I gotta bring it back.
This is why yesterday's rally was disgusting.
Don't call us Nazis, but I'm going to threaten the brown guy as a terrorist and kill him.
Because I didn't ever say Donald Trump was Hitler. But do you know who stood on a stage yesterday and said, I want to come to the Nazi rally? I don't have to make up words and call you something. You're saying it for yourself. And what you just said
Kamala
right
Harris
here,
is a pimp.
apologize, but I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it to me.
I didn't say it
that
to
was
you.
disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said yesterday.
Oh, we're well aware you all can be offended without something being said to you. There's no people that wake up that want to be offended more than the TDS crowd.
I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out. The one guy said, I support the Palestinians. So the other guy said, I hope your pager doesn't go off.
Correct. After he was called a Nazi.
After he was called a Nazi. So the other guy that said, I hope your pager doesn't go off, was implying that he was like a Hamas? Or
right. How dare you say that to me? You think I'm a terrorist?
He just got done calling him a Nazi?
Correct.
Okay.
So either everybody's got to be cool with the insults or nobody does it, right? I'm equal opportunity. If you're going to call him a Nazi, he's going to call you a terrorist. You can't get butthurt either way. That's how this works, right? At least it's how it should work. But everybody up there, 90% of the panel, they had their feelings hurt. That one woman wasn't even being talked to, and she said that she was offended.
Well, Philip, I think there was one of those chicks. She gaslit everybody by shouting at that guy when he noted that media were calling Trump supporters who attended that rally Nazis. She said, oh, no one said that. Did you hear that part in that? That was Abby Phillip. No one said that. I never have said that. Are you kidding me?
The one guy said it right out of the gate.
Right. Said it on your panel. Oh, chaos. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Honestly, that's the best thing that's been on CNN in a long time.
I mean, that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Kind of had a Jerry Springer-like feel to it. You kept waiting for a chair to get thrown. All right, Allison, I'm going to need your perspective on this. Is this normal, or is this just something that's happening here in Indy? So the big Taylor Swift concert's coming up, right? 3 nights of Taylor Swift shows. No tailgating for the Taylor Swift shows. Lucas Oil Stadium will not allow fans without tickets to tailgate outside of the stadium, to bond with the other Swifties, to listen to the music. You have to have a ticket and no tailgating for the concert.
How are they going to monitor that?
Quote, for safety purposes, there will not be listening or tailgating outside the stadium for those guests without concert tickets. So, Allison, you've been to Taylor Swift shows in other cities. Is this normal?
It's normal to tailgate, yes. And it's normal to actually, if people don't have concert tickets, to just stand outside the stadium and listen to the concert from outside.
Okay, so that's a normal thing.
That is a very normal thing for this concert.
Will not be happening here in Indy.
Correct. And I get to a certain point because there's going to be a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of people hoping to get tickets last
minute. These are the final shows of the tour.
Yeah, for the U.S. Yes. So I get from safety reasons. I don't understand how beforehand, though, why you couldn't just hang out, because there's so many tailgate events going around Indy. I know there's
Carmel. Carmel's having one.
I mean, the State Museum's having one.
Beach
Children's
Grove's
Museum.
got stuff going on.
Do they really? Yes.
The Bullseye down here. I mean, there's tons of places.
But Nigel brings up a good point, though. So IMPD is down about, 500 officers at least. How many are we going to dedicate to busting Taylor Swift tailgaters as opposed to going out in the city of Indianapolis and finding violent repeat offenders trying to murder and rape people?
Well, I think part of that, I understand what you're saying. Part of that is like all the road closures after the concert for the 3 nights in a row. That's going to help, hopefully, with a little bit of congestion and a little bit of confusion. Should we play we had Taylor Swift tickets drop in our lap. Did I mention that? Have we talked about that already?
Not on air.
Not on air, yeah.
Oh, man. Should we play that audio at some point this week?
I think you should. It's precious. You surprised your daughter with some tickets.
My 10-year-old and my wife are going.
Well, that's awesome.
Should we play some of that? Should I
pull the audio and we'll play it later?
Okay.
Because the show's coming later in the week, so we'll do it again later this week.
Okay.
So,
but why I'm saying that is because they're staying overnight downtown, because all the road closures that happen 3 nights in a row after the concert is over. Like, it's so confusing to me. And we're gonna have to talk to Matt Bear about this on Friday,
right?
Because Friday is the first night of the series of the concert.
3 nights. Friday's the first night. But again, how many law enforcement officials are we dedicating to the Taylor Swift concert that we kind of need in other places around Central Indy? Now, I bet they're getting help from other departments. And
again, that's why they're closing a lot of the roads.
I think there's
I think there's a correlation there. I think there's a correlation between closing off a ton of different access points and roads, as well as the accessibility of police officers here in downtown Indianapolis.
Somebody posted on social media the other day, I can't believe they took down the Colts pictures of the JW Marriott and put up Taylor Swift. But then after Anthony Richardson pulled that stunt on Sunday, that same person wrote back, I get it.
All right, I understand.
I get it. Let's talk about Terry Garr. Terry Garr passed away, an actress.
Yeah, comedic actress, 79 years old, longtime battle with MS. I probably first remember her as the mom in
Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom, yeah. Terry Garr in Mr. Mom.
Michael Keaton's wife in that. Yep. Went to go work at Schooner Tuna. With sleazy Martin Mull trying to sleep with her.
Who passed away. Did Martin Mull pass away this year as well?
Yeah.
And but I think everybody really remembers her first and foremost as Inga in Young Frankenstein, where she was a hot young actress.
Tootsie. Had a role in Tootsie.
Yeah, I don't know if I've even ever watched Tootsie all the way through.
Do you remember the local radio commercials for 107.9 WTPI? Terry Garr was like the spokeswoman.
Here?
Yes. Now, I'm sure she probably did these for other stations in other markets, but she had a Light Rock 107.9 WTPI commercial campaign.
I did not know that. I first remember her as Caroline Butler, Michael Keaton's wife, in Mr. Mop Schooner Tuner. That's a great
The tuna with a heart.
Yeah. That is impressive. So I'm going to have to go back and watch Mr. Mom. It's a very sweet movie. And, rest in peace, Terry Garr, 79 years old, long battle with MS.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Indy, tired of using the fall to paint your house year after year? Then do what Deanna did. She called Rhino Shield.
I was noticing some cracks and the paint's faded. I was like, okay, I think I should get my house painted. So my neighbor had a Rhino Shield placard in the yard. And after they were finished, I was just, wow. With the warranty and everything, it just seemed silly not to go that route.
The ceramic coating of Rhino Shield is specifically formulated for our climate.
So the Rhino Shield crew came out. Nothing was damaged in the process. I was very happy. You couldn't even tell they were there. And the house looked so different. It just looked like a new home.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
I think it increases the curb appeal of your home. Definitely worth it.
Here's Rhino Shield Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Holidays will be here before we know it. Maybe you've already started shopping for someone on your list. AAA Hoosier Motor Club inviting you to join them, help make sure some local kids in need get gifts through the Toys for Tots program. AAA giving you the chance to send a holiday message of hope to Central Indy's less fortunate kids.
And as a thank you for donating to Toys for Tots, current AAA members will receive 25% off any merchandise in the travel store or adding someone to your AAA membership featuring their fabulous 24/7, 365 days a year roadside assistance for just $25. And non-members who donate will have the opportunity for early access to a special holiday offer, a classic AAA membership for just $50. Help local children in need this holiday season and secure your peace of mind with a AAA membership. Donate to Toys for Tots at AAA. Visit AAA.com or find the AAA store near you.
As a caregiver, managing your loved one's health can at times be overwhelming. This is Tina McIntosh, president of Joy's House and co-host of the Caregiver Crossing radio program. In a moment, I'll share 3 tips to help you manage your loved one's medical care effectively.
Cardon & Associates offers the finest senior living options tailored to your loved one's needs. Reservations are now being accepted for new apartments at Copper Trace in Westfield. Visit cardon.com.
Tip number 1, keep a list of all medications, dosages, and schedules to ensure your loved one is taking their medication correctly. Second, attend doctor's appointments with your loved one when you're able. And finally, stay organized by keeping forms, notes, and other important documents in one secure place. More tips like this are available anytime at caregivercrossingradio.org. With new weekly content created by Joy's House and distributed in partnership with Network Indiana, we're an on-air and online support group for Hoosier family caregivers. Hear conversations with experts, access the library of online education, and more at caregivercrossingradio.org.
Hi, this is Richard Stevenson. We service all makes and models. Call us at 317-557-8532.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun, brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or DrexelIN.com.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
Again, coming up after 5 o'clock at 5:06, the best in the Delphi coverage, the best coverage in Indy. Donnie Burgess, Guy Relford will join us in studio. We'll recap everything that's happened today and give you analysis. Matt Baer, what's up?
Looking at a crash on the south side, eastbound 465 at Harding Street after the I-69 interchange and ramps. Right now, 2 right lanes are blocked and traffic is stopped back to I-69. Stall going the other way, westbound 465. It's on the exit from I-69 to westbound 465. And westbound 465 is traffic stopped after the I-65 interchange out to US 31. Inbound 65, stop and go. MLK to the north split. Eastbound 70, slow from Belmont to the south split. And inbound 69, stop and go now 106th Street to 465. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at DrexelIN.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
79 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center, and we've got some Halloween stuff.
Yeah.
Pumpkins, candy, costumes, Halloween stuff. So, Nigel, we got a lot of stuff going on here.
Yes,
on one hand, we're getting ready for a presidential election. On the other hand, we've got Halloween coming up this week.
Oh, yeah.
Trick-or-treating with the kids and the candy and the costumes and the whole thing. So what if we combined all of that into one segment here?
Oh.
This is a political attack ad on Halloween.
October 31st, vote no on Halloween. Halloween supports dangerous roving gangs of children going door to door to get their fix. When it comes to healthcare, Halloween doesn't care. Under Halloween, tooth decay rates have doubled and instances of child obesity have skyrocketed.
Oh, no.
Halloween is deceptive. Sure, it may look like a sexy firefighter, but don't count on Halloween if your house is burning down.
No.
And Halloween is not a legal holiday. If Halloween had its choice, it would allow for more illegal holidays to invade and take over your calendar. Don't be tricked. Halloween is no treat. This October 31st, vote no on Halloween. Paid for by Thanksgiving.
See, there's a negative attack ad on Halloween coming up.
I'm voting yes.
It's a lot harder to kind of scare people and shock people in today's day and age. And if you need proof, check out an old news segment that we found where people are losing their minds after seeing The Exorcist in 1973.
Oh, wow.
I think it's disgusting.
Grossest thing I've ever seen. It's weird. She turned her head around.
She turned her head around.
We have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint. I ain't never took my coat and hit it over my face like that.
That movie did its job back in 1973.
It did, man. It sure as hell did.
The Exorcist, when's the last time you've seen it? I've seen it a few times. It still holds up in terms of being a horror movie and scaring the crap out of you. Now, I don't know. Somebody could tell me. I know we're up against it here. Somebody could tell me if the novel is scarier than the movie. The screenplay by William Peter Blatty based on his 1971 novel. And then Friedkin, I believe, is the guy that directed it. Which is worse, the book or the movie? I want to know. At Hammer and Nigel.
And piggyback question.
Yes.
What's a scarier movie? The Exorcist or Howard the Duck?
I thought you were going to say like Silence of the Lambs or something like that. Howard the Duck is scary good.
At Hammer and Nigel. All right. We're going to have some Delphi conversation. Guy Relford, Donnie Burgess in studio with us next.
You know, the experts at Low T Center have over a decade of experience helping patients, and super important. This is the key. Their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These aren't just basic, standard, generic treatments. So if you're often feeling tired, lacking motivation, gaining weight, noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait to find out. Get to Low T Center, take a simple, quick test, and they'll find the right program for you.
For established patients, you get the convenience of physician-monitored at-home treatments that ship directly to your home. So you don't have to get in your car and drive to the Low T Center. It comes right to your house. And the Low T Center really is your one-stop shop for all things men's health. You could also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription weight loss medications. That is something that Low T Center does. So book your appointment today. LowTCenter.com. That's LowTCenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
As the summer fades and the cool breeze of fall sets in, it's the perfect time to get back to the basics, especially when it comes to your financial future. At Howard Bailey Financial, we believe in simplifying your retirement plan. Our team of advisors help you build a customized retirement strategy that is designed to help reduce risk, increase income, and mitigate tax. Whether you're just starting out or looking to refine your plan, we're here to guide you every step of the way. It's never too early or too late to make sure your financial future is secure. Text BASICS to 888-262-1104 to download your complimentary retirement planning toolkit today. That's BASICS to 888-262-1104. Howard Bailey Financial. Back to the basics. Forward to your future. Howard Bailey Securities, LLC is an independent financial services firm and uses a variety of different investment strategies. Please see disclosures at howardbailey.com.
Eligible Hoosiers, listen up. Election Day is November 5th. This is a reminder from the Indiana Secretary of State. Make a plan to get to the polls and vote. Indiana's elections are safe, secure, and transparent. Go to indianavoters.com to find polling locations, volunteer to work at the polls, and more information for Election Day. Make your vote count this Election Day, November 5th. This message is brought to you by your Indiana Secretary of State.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace, you're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Tune in to the Absolute Retirement Planning Show.
When retirement comes about, we're now relying on what we have saved to meet those needs.
Sundays at 9 a.m. right here on 93 WIBC.
Plumbing problems stink. The LD Smith Crew can handle anything. Call today for $50 off any plumbing repair, big or small.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
Pacers basketball is ready to run it back and show the world our time is now.
With 1 and 6/10 seconds to play, Halliburton with a chance to make it a 3-point game.
Be there on Wednesday for an Eastern Conference Finals rematch.
Neesmith beat the shot clock, and the crowd tells you the result.
Your Pacers collide with the defending NBA champions, the Boston Celtics, Wednesday at 7. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets. Pacers, Celtics, Wednesday at 7.
Coming up in 2 minutes, denial after denial after denial. Donnie Burgess reports on day 10 of the Delphi murders trial. An IMPD is investigating a fatal shooting on the east side. A fire at a veteran homeless shelter over the weekend has been ruled an accident. It's coming up after Fox News Radio from the Technology Recyclers studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 5 o'clock.
Swing states just a week away, as is the election. I'm John Saucier, Fox News. A week to go with both presidential campaigns intensifying their efforts to win over 15 electoral votes in the battleground state of Michigan. Fox's Alexis McAdams in Detroit.
When you look at the recent polls, it's in a dead heat in battleground Michigan. We're talking Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump tied at 48%. According to those latest polls, both candidates are holding rallies in these battleground areas in Michigan, where Trump won back in 2016 and President Biden carried it in 2020. Harris is working to win the union vote in Michigan. It's very important here in the state, visiting a union training facility, trying to connect with blue-collar union voters, a key demo that she's struggling to win over. But Trump has promised to revive Detroit's economy. He's been talking about it a lot lately, saying the Motor City has gone down the tubes, vowing to bring back the auto industry.
Latest Fox News Power Rankings show the Michigan Senate race is shifting in favor of Republicans and is now considered a toss-up. Former President Trump spoke for about an hour to supporters at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida this morning. Here's Fox's Jessica Rosenthal with a recap.
The former president said he hadn't taken a day off the campaign trail in over 50 days.
So we're going to fight like hell for the next 7 days, and then hopefully...
He invited the mother of a veteran killed at Abbey Gate during the Afghanistan withdrawal on stage to speak, as well as a mother whose daughter was killed by a suspect who's undocumented. She spoke after a video featured the story of a mother whose 12-year-old daughter was also murdered.
I think what's happening on the border is the single biggest issue, and I'm seeing it more and more when I speak.
He said the vice president and her campaign should be more careful in their criticisms of him, given the assassination attempts and Iranian threat made against the former president. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Vice President Harris will deliver remarks from the Ellipse in Washington, D.C. tonight. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
He said he didn't do it. Sunny at 78 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. You've got a clear radar. Tonight's low drops to about 60 degrees. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:02. Denials, curse words, and the eventual arrest. Donnie Burgess explains what happened during day 10 of the Delphi murders trial.
The jury got to sit back and watch two police interviews from October 2022 featuring suspect Richard Allen in his own words. The video showed Allen continue to deny any involvement in the murders of Abby and Libby. Allen went so far as to curse out the county sheriff and state police lieutenant Jerry Holman. In return, Holman screamed back and said he had evidence to prove Allen was bridge guy, even though Holman later admitted to lying. Allen screamed, "Leave my wife out of this and just arrest me," which is what happened. Confession tapes are expected this week. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A person of interest is in custody after a fatal shooting this afternoon. IMPD says someone was shot just before 3 near a plasma donation center off North Post Road, south of 38th Street. IMPD says there's no threat to the public. They're still trying to figure out exactly what happened. More than 50 veterans who were displaced because of a fire that happened at a homeless veteran shelter Saturday night are getting help, says Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Wright.
We're just thankful for all the community outreach to help these veterans get relocated.
That fire's been confirmed as accidental as of this afternoon, but firefighters are still trying to find out exactly how it started. State police believe Larry Savage was helping test a ballot card voting system in Madison County on the 3rd of October. Sasha Nixon reports that he's now facing charges for theft and destroying or misplacing a ballot.
The test was meant to ensure that voting equipment was working properly at the Madison County Government Center. The 136 ballots involved were from a pre-audit group, marked to record a predetermined number of valid votes for each candidate and on each public question. But during the test, 2 apparently went missing. Camera footage later indicated that Savage had taken them. Sasha Nixon, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Strong winds and dry conditions are what you can expect the next couple of days.
It'll be pretty windy outside. Just make sure you secure any loose objects outdoors. But we're not expecting any power outages or really any big impacts with the wind, other than the fact that we do have some critical fire weather conditions this afternoon.
Forecaster Greg Mello says you could have wind gusts up to 40 miles an hour. You're 1 minute away from traffic and weather. It's 5:04.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They close fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
With traffic on the 5s at 5:05, what's going on, Matt Bear?
Harrison, I'm looking at the south side crash. Cleanup continues eastbound 465 at Harding. This has a stop back to State Road 67, Kentucky Avenue for a delay time of 29 minutes. Westbound 465 also on the south side. Stop from 65 over 231. Eastbound as 70 loaded from Tibbs Avenue into the south split, 13-minute delay. Inbound 65 stop and go 29 to the north split, then down to Fletcher Avenue. Eastbound 465 on the north side slows from Westfield Boulevard over to Allisonville Road. Crash Georgetown Road at Century Plaza. Also a crash West 34th Street east of Dandy Trail. Traffic sponsored by Honda of Fishers. Fall brings falling leaves and falling prices. Visit Honda of Fishers now for great deals on new and used Hondas. Visit Honda of Fishers in person or online at hondaofishers.com. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
And the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy and mild for tonight. Our low temperatures in the lower 60s. Wednesday, another one challenging record highs in the lower 80s. Winds gusting 30 miles an hour plus. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
Hammer and Nigel.
Can you believe these characters are weirdos?
So let's rock it!
My name is Nigel. Jason Hammer sitting right across from me with a pair of special guests in studio.
We've got Guy Relford, attorney at law, defense attorney, host of the Gun Guy Show here at 93 WIBC. And from the WIBC newsroom, Donnie Burgess is here. Donnie is one of the reporters in the city of Indianapolis that can go into the courtroom and also be allowed to take a look at the pool notes, because that's how a lot of people are getting information here with this trial. So, Donnie, you told me right before we went on the air, we had something really big happen in the later portion of this trial today.
We are finally into confession territory. So the state called witness John. I'm going to get the pronunciation of his last name wrong. Gallipo, I believe. We'll just call him John. He's a former warden at the Westville Correctional in the Westville Correctional Unit. And he was on the stand talking about Richard Allen writing a note requesting an interview saying, "I would like to officially confess to killing Abby and Libby. I hope I get the chance to apologize to their families." Warden John describes several times Allen admitted and apologized to him about the murders. This is Allen talking to the warden. He also goes on to say, Allen claims to have thrown the box cutter used to kill the girls, threw it away in a CVS dumpster. Now, it's not clear if that's a CVS where Allen worked or not, but that is the claim that Allen apparently made in this confession. Warden John says that despite the confession, like, Allen's treatment did not change at all. And they start describing some of the details of Allen's stay in Westville, and that was the prison he was eventually moved out of.
Right.
And they talk about he was put on suicide watch as recommended by his psychologist.
This was the prison, for those who have been following this case, where we saw those pictures of him looking very frail,
Yes.
right?
Yes, this is where his defense says he went into a complete state of psychosis. He was eating his own court documents. He broke a tablet that they gave him to use to communicate with family.
He was eating his own poop.
Yep, that part as well.
Really?
And so,
is that for real?
Yes. Well, at least from what the defense has, claimed to.
Now, Donnie, let me back up just a little bit. So this confession, you talk about the box cutter knife. Is there another confession where he talks about shooting the girls? Because that's what we've heard all along.
Well, I believe the number was 61 total confessions. And so somewhere in there, we are going to hear about all of those at some point over the course of this week, and I will be there Saturday and
but
probably
this
catch some of
specific
it.
one is the only one brought in today.
This so far, this is it. This was the one brought in today, and they go into a little bit more details about Allen's condition, about how other inmates were supposed to be watching him. He was tased twice while at Westville. He wore hand restraints with a giant box over the hands and leg irons as well. So they really got into, they bring up briefly that confession part, but then really go deep into the conditions Allen was in at Westville.
Yeah, just make a couple of points about the way the law works in this area. First of all, out-of-court statements, out-of-court declarations are traditionally called hearsay, right? And they're not admissible. An exception to that, what's not hearsay, is if it's an admission by a party. So here, if a defendant wants to admit to a crime, that's admissible. But separately, and this is so important, the rule generally is that a confession alone, without some extrinsic evidence, that means some other evidence linking that defendant to the crime, a confession alone without some corroborating evidence is not sufficient for a conviction. So it's very important that if people understand that people confess to things they didn't do all the time. And people don't believe that, but it's fundamentally true. It's documented across hundreds of years of criminal defense practice. So there needs to be some external evidence that actually supports the confession, or confession alone is not sufficient to support a conviction.
And just so we're clear, like, for instance, in this confession, he mentions the box cutter that he threw away. If they don't find the box cutter, even though he's mentioned it, does that play at all here?
Well, it does play. The other thing that would play is if a police officer, for instance, got on the stand, or multiple police officers, and said, we never told him a box cutter was used to commit the crime.
There it is.
See, that's why they hold evidence back from the public, so they can corroborate confessions. So if there's no evidence that anybody ever told him it was a box cutter, and he said, I threw the box cutter away, now you've got some corroborating evidence.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because what I'm about to say is just speculation in the room here, but it is, the law enforcement has admitted that over the years, evidence and details of the crime have leaked. Now, we started hearing about a knife being used to kill the girls early 2022, and that was way before the state ever actually confirmed it. We started hearing about that, right? So if we're hearing about it, Allen could possibly be hearing a lot more about it while he's going about his life in town. So I wonder, Guy, if the defense will, we don't know how it'll continue for the rest of this week, but if they will try to say any details he mentions here, he picked up third hand over the course of several years.
100%, Donnie, and you're dead on as always, because what defense attorneys are doing right now, and I'm sure they've already done actually, is pouring through all the interviews, every recording, everything they can possibly get to say, what did interviewers or interrogators from law enforcement or from any other source, what did they say to Richard Allen about the details of the crime? And if they can find just one instance of somebody saying, and by the way, we know that was your box cutter, or we know you used a box cutter on these girls, then boom, that's not corroborating evidence anymore. That's why what the interrogators say often in a confession case is as important as what the defendant says.
The last thing here from Westville Warden John is that as he continued testifying, he said he did not document any of Allen's verbal confessions. He did not document any of those. He never spoke to the Carroll County Sheriff's Office about Allen, and did not follow up on.
Why would you not document that?
Well, he says he also did not follow up on why Allen was moved out of Westville. And for those of you who don't remember, that was because his defense attorney said, hey, he is under Hannibal Lecter-like conditions there. He is falling apart, and there are guards with Odinism patches and tattoos being assigned to watch him. He needs to be moved out of Westville, and the judge agreed and moved him out of Westville.
And what an important interrogation would that be, cross-examination would that be, of that person to say, wait a minute, this was important enough that you're going to come into court today and testify under oath that it happened, and it wasn't important enough for you to make a note on it? It wasn't important enough for you to pass that on to the investigators you knew were on this case? But now you're going to come in and testify to it in court, but you never even picked up the phone or sent an email? And I'm sorry, if I'm a juror, I'm sitting there, I'm calling BS at that point.
Warden John says he did not neglect his duties. That's the last note here in this update I just got.
All right, let's take a little break here. And when we come back, there were some recordings of the interrogation that were played in court today. And Guy, I want to get your opinion on some of the things that were said, some of the things that were discussed. The audio was played for the jury. We'll do that coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, Matt Bear is going to get us up to date on the ride home.
You got a Hammer. Looking at the south side crash, eastbound 465 at Harding Street, blocking the right lane, causing stop-and-go traffic back to I-70. That is a 21-minute delay. We are stopped going westbound at 465 on the south side from I-65 over 231. Eastbound 70 stop-and-go traffic from Holt Road to the south split, 14-minute delay. Inbound 65 stop-and-go 29th to Meridian Ped. Eastbound 465 on the northeast side, stop-and-go Westfield Boulevard over to Allisonville Road. Westbound at 465 on the north side, slows from Meridian past Michigan Road. Traffic sponsored by BJ's Wholesale Club. BJ's Wholesale Club is opening November 1st in Carmel. At BJ's, members get up to 25% off grocery store prices every day. Visit bjs.com/Carmel. I'm Matt Bear. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
79 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. More from Donnie Burgess and Guy Relford coming up, talking about the Delphi trial, everything that went on today. We're talking confessions. We're talking wardens, what they did do, what they didn't do, and a lot of audio played for the jury. That conversation's coming up next here at the Hammer and Nigel Show.
You heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
If you're asking, how much money do I need to retire? You're asking the wrong question. The question you should really be asking is, how much money do I need every month to cover my expenses in retirement? Then it's just a matter of creating different sources of income to cover your expenses. Discover how you could turn your savings into a guaranteed stream of income in retirement with Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. Call him at 317-648-5120.
We trust Bill Demery to help us with planning for retirement. He's our retirement guy, and you can trust him too. Bill breaks things down in a way that we can all understand. And if you've saved more than $200,000 for retirement, call Bill right now. 317-648-5120. Social Security alone won't be enough. Contact Bill Demery. 317-648-5120. 648-5120.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
You know, I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare Open Enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Point! Hey, you okay? You don't normally miss those shots.
I just haven't been as regular lately, and it's making me feel sluggish.
You should try Metamucil. It's been a game changer for me. Metamucil's plant-based psyllium fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Ace! You're moving better than you were last week.
Definitely.
Metamucil keeps you moving. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Learn more at metamucil.com.
Inside Indiana Business Radio, the news you need to get ahead. Indiana's business news leader, weekdays at 6:32 a.m. and 5:56 p.m. on WIBC.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or drexelin.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by Stevenson Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard air dealer in Mooresville.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
I'm Nigel. Hammer's here. Also in studio, Donnie Burgess from the WIBC Newsroom covering the Delphi murder trials, and joining us, Guy Relford, criminal defense attorney. One thing I wanted to bring up before we get into some of the other details today from testimony is that the families of the victims are in court every day. They've had to see some pretty horrific things. I don't know if it's the first time they've seen. Is it the first time they've seen some of these pictures, Donnie? Do we know?
I don't know that for sure. But every time they go back to DNA,
Yes.
blood splatter, things like that, those crime scene photos come right back up, and they will probably come up again in some form or fashion.
And one more thing, too, something that Donnie said earlier from the information we got from the court was that the warden said that he had heard a confession from Richard Allen, a jailhouse prison confession, but didn't document it. That blows my mind, Guy, because at this point, this is the Delphi murders. Everybody knows what it is. It's a big, important deal. You've got Richard Allen in your jail. He confesses, and you don't tell anybody or document this. This can't be normal.
It's totally not normal, and it's offensive, frankly. And then, for him, as Donnie said, the last thing he said is to get off the stand. I did not derelict, I did not, fail to conform to my duty. Right. But you just said this is like the biggest murder in Indiana in decades and decades. And the defendant being held in custody for the specific crime confesses to you, and you don't document that in any way. You don't even write it down, much less notify authorities. But then you show up to the courtroom years later and testify to it. Does that make any sense to anybody, really?
So, Donnie, let's get into some of the other things that took place today. A couple different recordings were played for the jury. These were interrogations of Richard Allen.
Yeah, so they were two interviews from October 2 years ago. The first, October 13th, Allen is called in to talk to Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett and Steve Mullen, the former Delphi police chief.
Did he have an attorney at any one of these?
No, and he has not had an attorney at that one or a more intense one that's coming up here in
Guy
a sec.
Relford's head just spun all the way around, by the way, if you're watching the YouTube cam.
So the thing is, and I'm not trying to gloss over, they both are very, very important. But the first one with Mullen and Liggett, that's a lot of background information. And then towards the end, things start getting a little agitated between two sides, and they're like, okay, hey, did you do it? We've got people saying sort of thing. And Allen, at that point, is fed up and he leaves. But then the big one on October 26, 2 years ago, which was with Lieutenant Jerry Holman of Indiana State Police. And this is the one that led to Allen's arrest. And this one is fascinating to me because we've had the transcript of this for a long time. I've read through this before, but the video was finally revealed to the jury today. And this was hours of Jerry Holman and Richard Allen just in a shouting match, just, calling each other every name, and Allen saying throughout the entire thing, "You've got nothing on me. there's no way. When Holman told Allen that they have matched his cartridge to the crime scene, Allen laughed at him and said, I don't even need to read that report. There's no way. And
he was very adamant about that multiple times throughout this testimony.
He continued to say, Holman told Allen, hey, we know you're the last one to contact the girls. Allen, again, just shrugs it off. He says, I didn't even know the girls. And he just keeps on saying, I did not do this. I did not do this. And Holman at one point threatened Allen with the death penalty. And Allen said, go ahead and kill me and make my wife rich.
Was there a point at some point earlier today where they're playing back this video, they're playing back this interview, and Richard Allen is it feels like he's saying, you're trying to get me to confess to something that I didn't do.
Allen used the word fall guy in his first interview with Tony Liggett and Steve Mullen. He said, I do not want to be a fall guy. I respect your guys' integrity and authority, but I do not want to be the one to just hurry up and get this case solved. These are the words he's using. And that continues to be brought up with Holman. Another important note, a man did swab Allen's mouth and lips for DNA, and he did not object to it.
So he was open to the DNA testing, was very adamant it was not his weapon or casing that was found.
Yeah, and he laughed at that statement.
And by the way, just point of law, typically to get DNA, you need a warrant if it's not given voluntarily. So if somebody doesn't require the state to go establish probable cause for a warrant and come back and get DNA and says, sure, I'll give you my DNA, that's evidence. That's some indication that they're not worried about giving up their DNA.
Why would somebody not have a lawyer by their side when they're talking about something this serious, when they're being questioned about a heinous crime?
It's such a good question, Nigel. And the unfortunate thing is so many people think that I don't need a lawyer unless I'm guilty. And that's so incredibly wrong. I've represented a lot of totally innocent people who were caught up in a homicide investigation, and they just wanted a lawyer to help them steer them through the process. The classic example of Eli Dicken, the hero with the Greenwood Park Mall. He was a hero. Everybody looked at him as the hero, no question about it. But did he need a lawyer to steer him through that process of being in the middle of a criminal investigation? Absolutely. But when you're the target of a double homicide like this, you need a lawyer? Oh, hell yes.
Maybe Richard Allen, because, again, I'm not getting the vibe that he's a wealthy man, felt like he couldn't afford representation.
Well, that's a good point. At the same time, you go out there and you seek representation, their lawyers are going to step up. They just will.
And Allen, in the first interview, he goes into his background of, he told police, like, I've dealt with depression and anxiety in my life. Apparently, I've got to track this down somewhere to make sure I am 100% concrete, but it was said at one point Allen threatened to take his own life years and years and years ago, like way before all of this stuff happened. So he's had a little bit of a history with kind of struggling with mental health.
And if you're somewhat emotionally unstable or fragile, maybe is a better word, are you more susceptible to being coerced into giving a confession to a crime you didn't actually commit? 100%. And by the way, I don't want to sound like I'm just all on Team Richard Allen here. I'm not. But I'm just bothered by the fact that there just seems to be so many holes in this prosecution.
I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a fair and just trial at all.
Yeah, that's right.
Asking serious questions about the case of the prosecution. There is nothing wrong with that at all.
I will say just a couple of notes from inside the courtroom. While this very intense video is being played between Holman and Allen, Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, she's sitting there watching the entire time. She's nodding her head along when Allen in the video is saying, hey, you're not going to get away with this. You're going to pay for what you're doing to my wife, because they brought her in and out of the room to say, hey, your wife thinks you're a good guy, just admit to it. And then apparently at one point during the video, when Allen said they are not going to get away with this, Allen in the courtroom turned around and looked at his wife and just winked at her. And that just kept on. So these are just a few of the things that are going on inside of the room.
I'll tell you what, normally we do a segment called Color Roulette coming up next. And this is where we get anything from poop jokes to questions about politics. But let's see if we can make this a streamlined Delphi edition of Color Roulette. Would you guys stick around?
Absolutely.
All right, so if you've got questions about the Delphi trial, because people send us questions on Twitter and Facebook and the YouTube chat all the time. Call right now. Donnie and Guy will answer your question to the best of their ability. So 239-9393. If you've got questions about what's going on here, no question is too ridiculous. Trust us, we have had ridiculous questions on this segment before. 239-9393. Donnie Burgess is here. Guy Relford is here. Big Nigel and myself are here.
Hello.
Special Delphi edition of Caller Roulette, 239-9393.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
What he said on tape, mostly sunny, 78 degrees in downtown Indianapolis. Check of the radar comes up clear of any trouble. 60 is your low tonight. I'm Harrison Silcox. Here's what's trending at 5:30. You've heard stories about the Delphi murder suspect denying any involvement in the killings. Donnie Burgess reports the jury finally got to see those denials.
2 videos from 2 years ago show suspect Richard Allen deny over and over any involvement in the killings of Abby and Libby. Allen repeatedly told police they had nothing on him, and he had no idea how any cartridge of his could possibly be in the woods with the bodies. State Police Lieutenant Jerry Holman lied to Allen, saying he could prove he was Bridge Guy, and that set off a profane argument between the two men, which ended with Allen's arrest. The state is expected to play confession tapes this week. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
More than 50 veterans who were displaced because of a fire that happened at a homeless veterans shelter Saturday night in Indianapolis are getting some help, says Indianapolis Fire Department Battalion Chief Rita Wright.
We're just thankful for all the community outreach to help these veterans get relocated.
Wright confirmed Tuesday the fire has been ruled an accident, though firefighters still aren't sure exactly how the whole thing started. President Biden traveled to the port of Baltimore today to remember the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse and its impact on people's lives.
30,000 people lost their daily route to work, to school, and to home. 20,000 port-related paychecks became at risk. 6 construction workers were killed in the process.
Biden then announced $3 billion in new funding for port infrastructure and union jobs. 1 week before election night, Vice President Kamala Harris will be making her closing case to voters, reports Fox's Jared Halpern.
Tens of thousands of supporters are gathering here at the ellipse between the National Mall and the White House to hear what the Harris campaign is describing as a closing argument for the vice president. Harris is expected to say former President Trump is unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and out for unchecked power. She will pledge to seek common ground and put country above party. The ellipse is where former President Trump spoke ahead of thousands of his supporters descending and rioting on the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
Light rain is possible during the day before trick-or-treating Thursday, but it should be dry in the evening. As for what happens next,
they will be cooling down for Friday, but as we move into the weekend and into next week, we will start to warm back up again. So it looks like by Monday, or actually by Sunday, it looks like we reach the lower 70s for portions of the state.
Greg Mello with the National Weather Service says Thursday's really the only day where rain is possible for about the next week. With traffic at 5:33, here's Matt Baer.
All right. I'm looking at the crash. I'm looking at this right now. It's westbound 70 on the west side before Sam Jones Expressway. It is a crash involving a flatbed and a car. The car is in the right ditch right now, and traffic is stop and go past Tues Avenue, so we have a delay on that westbound side going to the airport from downtown. Eastbound 70 is stop and go from Tibbs Avenue into the south split, and right now that is a delay of about 8 minutes. Southbound 65 stop and go traffic, MLK to the north split. Crash west side, northbound 465 at West 38th. The right lane is closed. Traffic jammed up past Crawfordsville Road. Crash south side just cleared. Eastbound 465 after Harding. Still stop and go traffic. Back to I-70 and westbound 465 on the south side stopped from 65 to 31. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
Thanks, Matt. And here's your forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy and mild for tonight. Our low temperatures in the lower 60s. Wednesday, another one challenging record highs in the lower 80s. Winds gusting 30 miles an hour plus. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
I'm Harrison Silcox on the level on the go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
All right. Very soft, gentle come-in music there from Allison. I wasn't quite ready for that. It's kind of thrown me off just a little bit. Having some technical issues, though, and Allison's handling everything like the boss woman that she is. This is where we do caller roulette. Usually it's anything goes, any topic, but with all of this Delphi stuff going on, 10 days in, we thought, let's kind of streamline this and talk Delphi. We got Guy here. We got Donnie here. Noel is up first. Noel, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show. Go ahead, buddy.
Thank you. Hey, more of a comment or statement. I hope these families get justice. I really do. I hope these babies get to sleep in peace one day. Just from listening to you guys and obviously not being in the courtroom. But if I'm on the jury right now, just hearing what you guys are saying and coming back with, is this guy really Bridge Guy? I have serious doubts, and it's a concerning. And I have a concern that he's going to get away with this if he is Bridge Guy. I think the prosecution has screwed up royally. Just listening to you guys.
Donnie, you want to go ahead and start here?
I will say it's a fair concern for so many people because this case is pretty much the case for Indiana criminal history. And they have spent years and years, and sometimes we forget at the end of all, or the beginning of all this, 2 little girls lost their lives. They should be in college right now or graduating soon. And if this doesn't end definitively, then we still have a mystery.
Well, I have 2 questions, and I'm not in the courtroom, so I can't answer the question, but 2 questions, which is, where's proof beyond a reasonable doubt that Richard Allen is Bridge Guy? And where's the proof beyond a reasonable doubt the Bridge Guy even committed the murders? It's a guy on the bridge that was in the area at the time, but you got 2 different issues separately creating reasonable doubt unless a jury can decide, and that easily can be decided in Richard Allen's favor based on what I'm hearing. Because how many different descriptions of Bridge Guy did we get, and how many of those descriptions did not meet Richard Allen's description? Is, oh, by the way, if I'm a prosecutor and I think I can win my case, you know what I'm doing in that moment? When there's a witness on the stand who saw Bridge Guy, I'm going to say, do you see Bridge Guy in the courtroom here today? And they should scan the courtroom and they say Richard Allen, and if the answer is yes, you say yes, that guy right there in the gray suit, and then the prosecution says, Mr. Allen, please stand up. Let the record reflect that he was identified as Bridge Guy. But that never happened. And if a prosecution never answers that question, what's that tell you about their confidence that that witness would say yes, that's Bridge Guy?
Martin is up next. Martin, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Well, thank you. I just got a question. The round that was found, the cartridge that was found, was a Winchester, correct?
Well, it's allegedly a round manufactured by Winchester,
correct.
But the caliber was 40 Smith & Wesson is what I'm hearing.
But the rest of the rounds in his magazines were Blazers.
Well, that's right. And I mentioned this on a previous version of this very show where I said, what's the explanation for why there was one Winchester round found at the scene, but the rest of the rounds in the magazine were from a different manufacturer?
Right. And that was my question is, why would you load one into the chamber that's completely different from all the others?
Well, I mean, it happens. I mean, I've got, boxes of ammo sitting around that are all mixed together, and I reach in and load them randomly. So, but is that something that creates a reasonable doubt? Yeah, it can certainly contribute, and that's why it's a good question.
Roger, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show. Go ahead.
Hello. I am looking at this from a very different angle. I was one of the 12 jurors on a murder trial in 2015. We acquitted the guy. My question is it possible it was not a male? Could it be a female?
Has anything like that been brought up, Donnie?
Well, third-party suspects have been brought up in this for a long time. Now, they've all been male at this point, and I want to be careful because this could lead us down a very dangerous road here. But it was confirmed this week that the hairs around Abigail Williams' fingers belong to Liberty's older sister, Kelsey. Kelsey dropped them off that day. Now, again, this is just a statement of fact. But there's definitely been concern from the people in town of like, was this more than one person? And the state said, hey, like those hairs could easily have been there. The girls stayed together all the time. And
this was a popular trail.
Clothes. Yeah, I mean they're closest family. There's 1.5 million explanations as to why Kelsey's hairs were there. So that is a road we want to tread very lightly. But the third parties, alternate names not named Richard Allen, have always been something the defense has carried in the back pocket.
And we've not heard from the defense on that just yet, right?
No.
And listen, I mean, the last thing on earth I'm going to do is accuse a grieving family member of a crime, right? I mean, that would be a crime in and of itself to do that to a poor grieving family. At the same time, as a criminal defense attorney, you have to ask certain questions, which is, this isn't like a random hair found on somebody's sweatshirt. It's hair that's wrapped around fingers. And again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything. I wouldn't do that. But does that raise a question as to what really happened? And that's all a defense attorney is looking for.
Reasonable doubt. We keep saying those words over and over again.
Reasonable doubt. And that's what we're looking for. And that's the way I would try to tread that very, very difficult trail that you're describing, Don.
Absolutely.
Allison, let's go to line 7. Anonymous would like to chime in. Go ahead.
This is a question that you basically pretty much answered. But was her sister questioned or any other family members thoroughly investigated?
Donnie, do we know if any family members were investigated throughout this process?
Investigated?
Well, I'm sure they had to have been questioned.
Yeah,
investigated is a different term.
Yeah. So they have definitely been talked to over the years. All of the members of the female members of the family willingly gave their DNA, no problem. So investigated, that one I am not. I do not have a concrete answer on, so I would not want to say yes or no either way. And again, that one is wading into very dangerous waters at that point. I think what's important to remember about this whole hair situation, what's important to remember about it is that Richard Allen's DNA was not found there. That's what we know for fact.
And he's the one that's on trial right now for
this on trial.
Double murder.
And so that needs to be something the jury considers for sure.
John is up next. John, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel show.
Hey, thanks. I've got a question about the magic bullet. I was just wondering if Guy knows, does an extractor and a bolt leave a unique pattern on an unspent round the way that rifling does? Is there any precedence of this ever being matched to a firearm before? And do you expect the defense to, say, run around through a same make and model pistol and see if the markings are similar enough to match up?
It's such a great question. And listen, the science in the area, I think you can say it's accepted within the relevant area of science, which is forensics, that the extractor and ejector on firearms can leave unique marks. Whether that science was correctly applied in this case is a whole different question. And for instance, I have major concerns, and I've said it here on this show, Donnie and I have talked about it, but the fact that the examiner, the analyst at the Indiana State Police could not get sufficient marks to compare by racking the slide of the gun, as Richard Allen allegedly did. We know he didn't fire the gun because the round wasn't fired. So the examiner, the expert at the Indiana State Police, couldn't get sufficient marks to compare by racking the slide. She had to fire the gun. So you're comparing marks that were created by the extractor and the ejector after firing a round on a spent shell casing to a round that was never fired, and somehow Richard Allen created comparable marks, in fact, identical marks, by simply racking the slide. What's the explanation for that? I've been in this area for a long time. I don't have an explanation for that.
All right, we've got time for two more here. Let's go to Chuck. Chuck, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Thanks for taking the call, guys. Donnie, I have a question. I have been following this since the investigation early, and I listened to Doug Carter talk about a signature. He continually talked about that the killer left a signature. Was the signature the branches? Are you hearing anything about that? And if that's the case, how are they not allowed to bring that up in court? Because the state police continually talked about a signature that was left.
Yeah, Chuck. So what you're touching on right now is something that has been very problematic about the case for years, and that is the heads of state police saying one thing, local police saying another, federal police saying another, and no one's on the same wavelength. You know, Doug Carter, he did say that. He did say there was a signature. You know, and he said a lot of things over the last few years. He would always say the killer may be in the room with us during press conferences. Doug Carter said that the sketches were of two different men, but Lieutenant Jerry Holman said they were the same man. And so there's just this miscommunication. As far as the signature, the defense has always tried to say that the sticks left in these formations is proof of an Odinism human sacrifice, and we've got the evidence to prove it. As of right now, they're not allowed to, but they just recently entered that back into the possibility. They filed a motion, and we're still waiting on the judge to decide that.
Meanwhile, the prosecution is saying, listen, they're just trying to bury the body. There's sticks on top of a body. There's no certain formation here. That's just the way it is.
So at this point right now, we do not know about a signature, and we don't know if the defense will have an opportunity to prove that. But like I said, what's important, an important thing to dig around there of what Chuck just asked is that the miscommunication of one person saying this, one person saying another.
Reed, you get the last question here. Reed, welcome to the Hammer and Nigel Show.
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
I may have an answer for the bullet in the magazine.
Go ahead.
Maybe the bullet that was left behind was previously the on-deck bullet in the magazine at another time and at another point in time. And he had fired the gun, and then when it worked, that bullet that was left at the scene into the chamber, that would leave the marks on it. So maybe she had to fire the gun to get it to do the same thing.
No, that doesn't explain it, because the marks are left when you fire the gun in extracting. The extractor leaves the mark on the shell when it's taking it out of the chamber, not when it's putting it in the chamber. And by definition, the ejector only leaves a mark when it's kicking it out of the gun, not when it's going into the gun. So sorry, brother, that doesn't hold up at all.
Donnie, excellent work.
Yeah,
Where can we get
Donnie.
more coverage?
WIBC.com.
Guy Relford, you're the best. Let's do this again tomorrow if you guys are up to it.
Yes, sir.
You betcha.
It's the Hammer and Nigel Show.
When you have a fire emergency, you need a restoration company you can trust to put everything back together. Pat Sullivan here for the Michaelis Corporation. I know, I've relied on Michaelis after a fire at my home. I'm here with the owner, Richard Michaelis. Richard, what makes Michaelis the right call if you have a fire?
Michaelis is local and family owned. We are your neighbors, 39 years of experience, and we'll respond 24/7, 365. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified. We will restore your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
I've lived it. Michaelis was on the scene at my home before the firefighters had even rolled up their hoses. They asked me about calling a restoration company. I told them I had Michaelis. They told me Michaelis was the real deal. You help with insurance, too?
Yes, we'll work through the insurance process to give you peace of mind.
Water, storm, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIXED-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Your business needs a network it can count on.
Power's out.
Comcast Business has you covered with Wi-Fi backup to help keep your business up and running, even when your power goes out.
Everybody in the warehouse good? Lights are out, but the Wi-Fi's up. Let's power on.
It's from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Break room, you good?
Can't microwave my burrito, but Wi-Fi's fine. Let's power on.
Power on with the leader in connectivity, Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Learn how to get Comcast Business Internet and Security Edge plus Wi-Fi backup for $59 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add Comcast Business Unlimited Mobile. And ask how to get up to a $600 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle. Don't wait. Call or go online today. Ends 11/17/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 300 megabit per second internet, Security Edge, and Wi-Fi backup. Eco bill and auto pay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra and subject to change.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
This is an important notice to all U.S. taxpayers. The IRS is giving away billions of dollars in tax savings through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative to aid delinquent taxpayers. This initiative was established for anyone facing financial hardship and unable to pay their back taxes. Qualifying and enrolling in this program will stop all collections, settle your delinquent tax problem, and even reduce what you owe by thousands of dollars. Call the hotline at People's Tax Relief to see if you qualify and get this free information by dialing 800-285-0395. If you have unfiled tax returns or cannot afford to pay your personal or business back taxes, you can now get the help you need. One simple phone call can resolve your tax problem and save you thousands of dollars. To see if you qualify and to get this important free information, call 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395. 800-285-0395.
As Cybersecurity Awareness Month ends, update your software to fix security flaws. And for comprehensive identity theft protection, choose LifeLock. Start a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com/cybersafety.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is a proud veteran-owned company. 317-557-8532. Don't forget to get out and vote.
Stevenson Heating and Cooling is your independent American Standard air dealer.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Matt Baer, what's up?
Looking at northbound 465 on the northwest side, crash at West 38th Street. It blocks the right lane, stops us back to West 10th. Westbound is 70 on the west side. Stop and go traffic from Holt Road to Sam Jones Expressway because of a crash on the right shoulder. Inbound 65 slows 29th to Meridian Penn. Eastbound is 70 on the west side, slow from Belmont into the south split, and westbound 70. Stop and go traffic from Rural to the north split. Traffic sponsored by Drexel Interiors. Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for 1951 cabinetry. Visit Drexel's Kitchen and Bath Design Centers at 146th and River Road, North Shadeland, or online at drexelin.com. I'm Matt Baer. Follow us for instant traffic updates at WIBC Traffic.
78 at the American Standard Heating Weather Center. We went a little long with Guy and Donnie in that previous segment, but
fun.
Man, that is good information that you're not going to get anywhere else in the city of Indianapolis except for right here on the Hammer and Nigel show. So, going to take a little break. We're going to come back at 6:06. Please join us. It's the Hammer and Nigel show.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday.